Good afternoon. I'm Pamela Furr. Thank you for being with us. I'm in for Brian Wilson today. He'll be back on Monday. Hallelujah. It is Friday. And, because it's Friday, I feel like I should dance. And I have the perfect song to celebrate the fact that, you have maybe 2 more hours left of work, right? It's Elvis. Bossa Nova, baby.
Oh, that's good.
Hope. Bossa Nova, Bossa Nova.
Funky.
I love it. Doesn't it make, so you got 2 more hours, baby. Don't stop. Fiddly dink. Is Mac in there dancing? Mac's dancing. All right. So I feel good now. Thank you. Thank you for that.
That's nice.
And by the way, you know what else it is today? It is Freak Out Friday. This is where we take your phone calls and find out what freaks you out. 615-737-9986 is the telephone number. Coming up at 4:05 today, I have stolen an attorney. I have kidnapped an attorney.
I'm not sure that's legal.
And he is going to be with us at 4:05. It's Jay St. Clair. Matt Murphy has this brilliant attorney on the payroll and has him on his show quite often on Fridays. He calls it Friday. So since Matt Murphy has also been off all this week as well,
Hey, why not?
I thought, I'm going to steal him. So I called Jay St. Clair up and I said, hey, man, Matt Murphy's not here. Will you come be on my show? And he said, of course, for you, I would do anything. And so he's going to be on at 4:05. We're going to talk about that case down in Louisiana. Now, you and I talked about this on Monday, if you were listening on Monday. The case down in Louisiana where a judge has more or less said that the government has violated your constitutional First Amendment rights. And he has the proof. It's all on the record. So we're going to talk to Jay St. Clair about this and how big this case actually is. So that's coming up at 4:05. At 5:35, we're going to talk to the Beacon Group about the actual polls that have come out here. It's the Beacon Center, actually. Mark Cunningham is going to be with us, where it shows the numbers between Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis here in the state of Tennessee. And the numbers are, I think they are what you would expect them to be. But that is coming up at 5:35. So be listening for that. What freaks you out? One of the things, phone lines are open now, 615-737-9986. I'll get it right. 615-737-9986 on Freak Out Friday. Now, a DOJ official says that the department is trying to decide whether or not to delay Hunter Biden's plea deal hearing following a firestorm of, quote, sweetheart deal allegations by whistleblowers and claims that the attorney general lied to Congress about the Biden criminal probe. Now, that's interesting. And I have to wonder also if they're seeking to delay it because there's cocaine that's been discovered in the White House. And as I've said all along, in my opinion, if they discovered that this was Hunter's cocaine, could that possibly put in jeopardy the plea deal that he's arranged for anyway? On July 6th, the Delaware federal judge is set to decide whether to accept the first son's plea deal with prosecutors over 2 misdemeanors. 2 tax misdemeanors. Republican lawmakers are calling for Judge Mary Ellen Noriega to toss out the slap on the wrist and sweetheart deal altogether after whistleblowers from the IRS who investigated Hunter for 5 years say he could instead have been charged with a raft of more serious tax and corruption crimes. Now, a legal filing reveals that the DOJ is considering delaying the finalizing of the plea deal. I find that fascinating. Conservative charity, the Heritage Foundation, is suing the Justice Department for failing to release Delaware prosecutor David Weiss's communication records under the FOIA, or the Freedom of Information Act. A court filing by the foundation last week documented a June 29th phone call between their lawyer and DOJ counsel Jason Lynch, in which the justice official allegedly made the stunning admission. Foundation lawyer Samuel Dewey pointed out to the DOJ attorney that they could ask the federal judge in Hunter's criminal case for his July 26th plea hearing to be delayed to give them more time to process and release Weiss's records and allow scrutiny of the prosecutorial bargains. DOJ counsel indicated that the plaintiffs were absolutely right that the department could file such a motion, and that the DOJ counsel would take that point back to the district. So there you go. There's some delaying going on. And I know, again, it's the Heritage Foundation asking for FOIA records because of these communications and whatnot. They filed its FOIA request to the Department of Justice in March, asking for any documents or communications between Weiss's Delaware office and other DOJ officials about the Hunter Biden probe. So that's the latest. There may be a delay. And there may be an investigation into whose cocaine that really was, with the White House saying we may never know whose it was, or at least the Secret Service. Let me be more accurate. The Secret Service are saying we may never know whose it was. And I call BS on that. What if it had been anthrax? What if it had been anthrax? You're telling me that they would say, we have no way of knowing where it came from. Baloney. They were able to find every individual that attended the January 6th protest. They were able to find them. I mean, they were able to hone in on video taken to find everybody who protested and investigate and track them down. And you're telling me you can't track down who went in and out of the White House with cocaine? BS. Calling BS on that one. That freaks me out. It is 314-615-737-9986. Let's go to Ricky, who is in Watertown on Freak Out Friday. Hey there, Ricky.
How you doing?
I'm great. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good.
Good.
Have you heard the latest on the cocaine at the White House?
Uh-oh. I feel like there's a joke coming on.
No, I'm dead serious.
Oh, okay. Just want to make sure I already know. What is it?
Madam Furr, they have found cocaine in a very secure place, the parking spaces outside the White House. Guess whose parking place it's next to?
Whose?
Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I think you've got your information squished. It's actually, they didn't find it in the parking space, unless that's brand spanking new. They found it. Hang on, they found it in that part of the West Wing of the White House, outside the Situation Room, and the entrance is where Kamala Harris actually comes in. Is that entrance? That's the last I've heard.
And I'd like to comment on what you brought up yesterday about the UFOs.
Sure.
Have you ever looked at the picture of the Mona Lisa?
The Mona Lisa? No.
Yeah, I mean, she's ugly to me. In the background, in the air, there's a UFO painted on that picture.
Huh.
I swear I'm not lying. And the word you want to call the woman when she's wanting to know if you want to interview, call her the Southern term, something called snobbish.
Snobbish? All right. Right.
Yes.
Okay, Ricky. Right now, I don't know what you're talking about, but I appreciate your phone call.
I think it's something about Major Taylor Greene or somebody.
Oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you're commenting on past shows. I couldn't figure out what you were talking about, Ricky, but thank you for your phone call. Let's go to Ronnie, who needs to turn his radio down. Ronnie? All right, Ronnie, I'm going to put you on hold. How do I do this? How do I put him on hold? I can't seem to put him on. There you go. Thank you. Stephen in Clarksville, welcome to Freak Out Friday.
Hey, Freak Out. Hey, how you doing? I like the song that you played. And I also like your you being there taking the place of Brian. But anyway, I'm going to get to my point. We are living in a time where globalization has become the main priority.
Right.
And I'm sorry to say, I spent 21 years in the military, and I did it because I love this country. But if this generation don't get up and defend the Constitution, this younger generation, we're in trouble.
We're screwed.
Well, not screwed because this country's not going to be part of the global government. It says that in Revelation. But it's a two-tier system. We just got to pray because when the violence is in charge, the wicked walk on every side. You have a good day.
All right. Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate the phone call. Let's try to go back to Ronnie. Hopefully, Ronnie has turned his radio down. Ronnie, are you with me, friend?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I hear you,
Hello.
Pam.
That's all right.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, I got to freak out. I think the cocaine deal is a plant. Like somebody's planted that on Hunter Biden. I really do.
You think they planted it on Hunter Biden?
I think somebody planted it in the White House. So, because they're so tired of what's going on with the Bidens, I think this is a setup to get him gone.
Yeah, but here's what you do. You do a drug test. Take a drug test, and if you're clean, then it ain't yours.
Exactly. I think if he don't come forward, then it's either him or somebody set him up. If he does come forward, then somebody set him up.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that phone call. Thank you, Ronnie. That's kind of freaky. That's kind of freaking me out. What freaks you out? 615-737-9986 is the telephone number to call. Our phone lines are open. So are our super text lines. Yes, there are super texters who are saying that, don't they have camera surveillance in the White House? And the answer is yes. Here's another one from Mark who says, good point, Pamela used the same security as used on January 6th. Adding to that, use the security at the border that's used at Area 51. Use that. I agree with you. The DOJ covers for the Bidens. This is from 1840. A delay is so things will cool down and just go away. All right, it's 3:19. Bill's on the line. You can get on the line as well. Bill, hold on. We'll take your call when we get back in just a moment. It is I forgot the name of the show. It's The Drive with Brian Wilson on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Endangered 10-year-old in Tennessee found safely. A serial killer arrested, and bulletproof glass going to be installed in metro schools. Those stories and more coming up 3:30. I'm Mac Maury right here, Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, I do like the idea of bulletproof glass in metro schools. That makes me feel a little better about the safety of our children in metro. So that's good. Thank you very much, Matt Maury. I want to hear more about that, of course, at 3:30. 615-737-9986. What's today? Today is Freak Out Friday. What is freaking you out? It's my First Amendment or open phones or what. I stole this from Des Dickerson. This was not my original idea. I love this idea, so I took it from him. But I want to attribute where it came from. It was his creative brain, and I like it a lot. So whatever you want to talk about that freaks you out, 615-737-9986. We'll go to Bill in here in just a second. But I want to tell you that a Biden spokesperson, this is not Karine Jean-Pierre, but it's someone else, is now saying that, well, I want you to listen, because here's another excuse about the cocaine in the White House.
Thank you, Jake. 5 days after cocaine was found here in the White House, congressional Republicans seem like they're very close to launching some sort of formal investigation. I'm curious, from a national security perspective, Wade, what was your reaction when the drugs were found? And B, was there any risk to security, either to the president, to your staff, anybody that would work out of the sit room, for this stuff to be so close to where you work?
So first, I would refer to the Secret Service when it comes to questions of the security of the president. I won't speak to that. Second, I would make a point about the Situation Room, because I think there's been a lot of questionable reporting on this. The Situation Room is not in use and has not been in use for months because it is currently under construction. We are using an alternate Situation Room in the Eisenhower Executive Office building. So the only people coming in and going out of the sit room in this period have been workers who are getting it ready to go. By the way, it's on time and on schedule to be.
Did you hear the press giggle? But so now are they trying to paint the picture that maybe it was a construction worker that maybe dropped the cocaine nearby?
Back on station here in the not too distant future. But no, there was no issue with the Situation Room relative to this. And then finally, look, we have rigorous drug testing policies at the White House. We have rigorous drug use policies here at the White House. We take those extremely seriously. So we'll let the investigation unfold. If it involves someone from the White House, the appropriate consequences will ensue. If it involves some visitor who came in and left it, then that's a different matter that raises a different set of questions that are less relevant to my line of work. So I will leave it at that. But I do not believe at present, as things stand here at the podium today, that we are facing some national security threat, ongoing national security threat.
All right. Well, there you go. 615-737-9986. Let's go to Bill in Dixon. Hey, Bill.
Hey, Pamela.
How are you?
Well, first of all, I want to say I've been married to a redhead for 44 years.
And you've lived to tell about it.
Well, I always dated redheaded women because they're the hottest women there are.
All right. Thank you, Bill. I'm taking that as you're saying I'm hot.
What I wanted to say was,
I don't know.
I'm so tired of the fighting between. Why don't we have other people beside the Republicans and Democrats? They all are corrupt. Why don't you just throw them all out?
Throw them out of what? Out of the country?
Out of government.
Throw them out of. Well, here's how you do it. You vote. Vote.
Vote other people in.
Yeah.
But people will vote for the Republicans and Democrats no matter what.
Well, you have very few third-party people running.
No, we don't have good third-party people running.
Agreed. So you can't vote them out if you don't have anybody running against them.
Well, I have one other thing I want to say to you.
All right.
What happened to Michael DiGiorno?
I think you should ask him. He's online. He's online. You can check him out yourself and ask him. 615-737-9986. Let's go to Al in Baxter. Hey, Al.
Hey, how's it going, Pamela?
Fabulous. How's it going with you?
Going pretty good. Hey, I just want to know why we haven't heard anything about Jill Biden. And I'll leave it that. And let me tell
Are
you
you
something.
saying Jill Biden or Joe Biden?
Jill Biden.
Jill.
Joe's wife.
Right. What do you mean we haven't heard anything about her? She's been
She's
out there
part of the
giving
Biden crime-
speeches and
Yeah, well, she's part of the Biden crime family, is what I understand. Kind of.
I don't know. I mean, is she just married to the crime family? Is she married to the mob? or is she or has she participated in any of it herself?
Well, she's sleeping with Joe Biden. You tell me a husband and wife don't talk about business dealings? Something's fishy, I think.
Have you never watched The Godfather? They don't talk. They don't talk to their wives about this stuff.
Right. By the way, I am a friend of Cornbread. Do you remember him?
Cornbread. No.
He lives in Baxter.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you remember him. But anyway,
I don't. I have no idea who you're talking about.
Yeah, he lived in Baxter. He used to call into your place all the time.
Okay.
But anyway, I'll let you on that, and let's see what we can find out about Jill Biden.
Okay. Thank you for your phone call. Now, I like to eat cornbread.
I was going to say, I love a piece of
And
cornbread.
I think there's somebody on Twitter that follows me named Cornbread, but
I think Brian's got a guy that did some metal work from him named Cornbread out in
other
Watertown.
than that, I mean, do you know how many people listen to the station, and do you know how many people that call in? So I apologize. I hope I'm not hurting Cornbread's feelings, but I have a feeling that somebody is saying he knows me when he does not.
Better be careful. You might hurt his feelings and then have to butter him up.
Oh, please. Oh, man. Boo hiss. Boo. All right, one more before we head to news. Let's go to Daniel in Antioch. Hey, Daniel.
Hey, how's it going?
Fabulous.
Hey, I just wanted to speak on, about the whole open drug use at the White House. It just baffles me how we have, potentially we have, open drug use in the White House, and these are people who are actually, holding the highest positions in our government, and we allow this to happen. But God forbid that you have just, some regular Joe Schmo working at Walmart. He gets popped with a positive, weed test just because he smells like weed or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they'll already tell for that, believe it or not. It's crazy how these drug laws and the way they handle drug laws, and just it's crazy to me.
Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate your call, and for that, that freaks you out today. So that's what inspired you to call. Look, I think it's a bit hypocritical because, excuse me, here's my quick take on all of it. I think from a weed standpoint, pot standpoint, CBD standpoint, all of that, you're talking about a naturally grown plant, right? I think a naturally grown plant, if you can find health benefits to that, why the heck is it illegal? Now, there are some that just want to get stoned, but there are some people, and, whatever. Go live your life. I don't care if you want to live it stoned, go live it stoned. But there are health benefits to a marijuana plant that you can't get naturally anyplace else. And for me, we have to really seriously look at legalizing. You've got people spending years in prison just for distributing something that people use. Even I had a friend who had cancer. He was going through radiation treatments that made him so sick. And the only thing that helped him, and I'm being dead serious, was pot. It's the only thing that helped with that nausea. And yet it was illegal for him to have it. Doesn't make any sense, does it? It's 3:31. I am a little late. I apologize, but it's time now for news with Mac Maury on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
"32 minutes after the hour of 3 o'clock, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. 90 degrees and a sunny day on Music Row. A dry night ahead, but a wet and hot weekend as well. Traffic and weather coming up 5 minutes away. Endangered child found safe here in Tennessee. A 10-year-old Kyle Crimmins Jr. left his home on Kemper Drive in Nashville yesterday at 11 a.m. and has just now been found. Kyle reportedly ran into a wooded area near his home after getting into a fight with his parents. Channel 4 was able to talk with the public information officer and ask what tactics they used to locate the boy.
After the amount of hours that had gone by, we just continued to put in more manpower and resources into it. We had Air 1 flying up. We had our mounted patrol units. We had other precincts, detective teams come out here. We had youth services, domestic violence. We had Sumner County's non-aggressive bloodhound dogs searching for him that were actually on scene when he was located. So a lot of different resources that went into finding Kyle.
The TBI said this was always treated as a runaway case. And over in Southern California, federal agents have arrested a man suspected of being a serial killer in Mexico, but was living in Los Angeles at the time. Here's Alex Stone.
Police in Mexico and the U.S. have been looking for a man who Mexican authorities said had a similar killing profile to Ted Bundy. In this series of murders, an American was believed to have been responsible for the killings of multiple strip club workers in Tijuana, traveling over the border to kill the women and then would come home to the U.S. Now under arrest is 30-year-old Brian Rivera of Downey, a town outside of L.A., who was found living with his parents, taken down by the U.S. Marshals and the FBI. Mexico has not yet sent paperwork for his extradition.
And right now at Metro Public Schools, bulletproof film will be added to windows and doors at existing buildings as part of a $6.5 million safety plan. It's to try to prevent what happened at Covenant School from ever happening again. While bullets could still go through the windows, it'll keep the shooter outside and allow police to respond. And MNPS is also installing a new radio system that'll allow police officers to better communicate within schools while responding to an emergency. And that is the latest news. Weather and traffic next. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I am Pamela Furr. Thank you for being with us today on this Friday. It's also what we like to call around these parts Freak Out Friday. (615-737-9986) is the phone number you can call. 615-737-9986. You can also super text us there at that same number if you'd like. Whatever is on your mind, whatever is freaking you out today, you can call that line and talk to us or super text us and get it off your chest on this Friday. Coming up at 4:05, it's Friday. We will have attorney Jay St. Clair on the air with us to talk about a ruling down in Louisiana that is basically saying you really screwed up, government. You may have done something extremely unconstitutional, and that was stifle free speech. So we're going to talk about that at 4:05. Meanwhile, I think I shared this with you yesterday where a new study had revealed that there were areas in this country that had toxic tap water after several companies dumped chemicals into their water sources for decades. They were called forever chemicals, right? So this kind of freaked me out a little bit. And there are places all over the country where this is the case. The tap water is just not good. And I think I shared with you, I can smell. That's the only thing that my smell didn't correct after my COVID diagnosis. And I can still smell chemicals in tap water, which is really, strong. I don't mean, it smells like a little bit of fluoride in there. No. I mean, it's chemical and offensive and makes me nauseous. Well, this new study says that North Carolina and Iowa have the areas with the most toxic tap water. Holy crap, I grew up in North Carolina for 18 years drinking that crap. You know, my dad, get me a glass of water. Now, he's 81 years old, but he always wants the tap water. Just give me, just do it, the tap. Get it out of the tap. Well, nearly half of the tap, but he's fine. I mean, he is 81 years old.
Must not be too bad.
Must not be. I'm going to knock on wood. They're healthy. They haven't had any kind of, please, Jesus. They haven't had any kind of cancer or any, Alzheimer's. My mother, she's 88. She has memory issues. Like, she truly will forget 10 minutes later that you've had a conversation about something. But it's just forgetful. But it's not dementia. It's just, she doesn't remember. And then she'll giggle. I have to tell this because it's so sweet and so cute. Mom, I told you about that yesterday. Oh, well, tell me again. That's her attitude. And then I'll go, Mom, this is the third time I've told you, right? Well, that's all right. Just tell me again. She just has the best attitude. I love that. But sometimes it can be a little frustrating when you go through a whole story and have to repeat it again. So you just have to pray for patience because she can't help it. And I know that I am not the only human who has gone through something like that. I am sure there are plenty that go through parents not remembering, or even parents with dementia or Alzheimer's or what have you. And you just have to be patient because it's not their fault at all. And I would much rather have her forgetful and still here. So I'll take a little bit of repeating. If I have to repeat things 10 or 15 times, I'll take it. At any rate, back to this. In the most comprehensive study of its kind, researchers from the U.S. Geological Survey tested water sources in more than 700 locations across the country for these particular substances. And I was calling them, I don't remember what I called them, but they're actually PFAS, I think is what you actually call them. I think I was calling them POFs. But it's PFAS, PFAS, per and polyfluoroalkyl substances. I'll take PFAS. Yeah, and
Sounds good, yeah.
and these are forever chemicals. It takes 10 years or more if they're in your body for it to break down. So God only knows what kind of damage these chemicals are doing in your body if they're just sitting there for 10 freaking years or more. Holy smokes. They found that the next city with the worst levels of PFAS in the tap water, Miami, Florida. Let's see. In recent years, there have been a growing number of federal drinking water guidelines, but are no current enforceable national drinking water standards. The Environmental Protection Agency limits PFAS to 0.004 parts per trillion for drinking water, a small amount due to their links to cancer, infertility, obesity, and autism.
Wow.
Which is everything everybody has, right? Or all the problems you have. That I am a big girl, I guess, because of the PFAS I've been drinking. Not because I like Big Macs 4 times a day. No. By the way, I don't eat Big Macs 4 times a day. 737-9986 is the phone number on Freak Out Friday. Joel is on the line. Hi, Joel.
Hi. I've been enjoying your show.
Thank you, sir.
I was walking my dog about 9 or 10 years ago in the front yard, and I happened to turn around, and I saw something like a bubble proceeding behind me, getting closer. I turned around, continued to walk the dog, and I thought, I'll just pretend I didn't see that. I could see clear through the thing. I turned around and looked, and then it started leaving me. And it left and proceeded to travel over the power lines. And it entered, it looked like a door, and the door closed. And it proceeded to travel to the left. And till the door closed, and the object was no longer in sight. All I saw was sky. Everything was clear, but the impression was it was like a soap bubble. And that was the most mysterious thing I think I've seen.
Well, that would freak me out.
That was very freaky.
Well, Joel, may I ask you a couple questions?
Go ahead.
And I'm not making fun of you, but I do have to ask these questions, right?
Right.
First of all, have you told anybody?
Only a few folk.
And did they look at you like you were a little nuts?
They didn't know what to think about it.
All right. Do you drink regularly? And I'm not, I'm laughing, but you have to ask. These are the same questions I asked one of my best friends who swears she saw Bigfoot. I asked her, had she been drinking that day?
No, I don't drink.
You don't drink. Are you on any kind of medication?
No. I may need to nowadays, but no, I wasn't taking medication.
And how long ago was this?
I think it's about 9 or 10 years ago.
And
my dog was still alive then.
Was it in
with me?
Was it in Estelle Springs where you live, or was it someplace else?
It was in Estelle, in my front yard, while I was walking my dog.
And you swear you saw a door? Was it like a wooden door, or was it just like a light appearing in the sky?
Everything was clear. The door itself, I could see through it. I could see clouds. The clouds, I could see, everything was transparent.
So it was an entryway, not necessarily a door, just an entryway for this bubble to go into.
It looked like a hangar.
Well, Joel, I don't know what to say. Have you called Tim Burchett and told him what you saw?
Who?
All right, so he's a representative. He's one of our U.S. representatives who believes that there are UFOs in this world. He believes there are aliens, and I'm not laughing right at this moment. I'm dead serious, because he has had classified meetings where he has seen documentation that the government, he says that the government knows we are not alone. So, I'm being dead serious here, Joel. I think you ought to call Representative Tim Burchett and tell him what you saw. I'm not joking.
I don't know his number or anything, but that's all right, I guess.
Well, you can find him.
It's kind of spooky, but I can't explain it. And what got me was it was kind of sneaking up on me. And then, like I said, I turned around, pretend I didn't see it, and then I turned around again, and it was leaving me.
It's weird, Joel.
It was.
I see why you're freaked out about that. Thank you, Joel, for your phone call. I appreciate it. 615-737-9986. What's that late night show? Well, it's on another station. I probably can't say what it is. Art Bell used to do it. I can say that because he's not with us anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He passed away. That's what I feel like, right?
That was an Art Bell type call, wasn't
It really was.
Yeah.
And I'm not making fun of him.
It's just interesting.
People see
strange
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I had a friend, one of my dearest, Darlene is her name. I won't give her last name, who swears she saw Bigfoot. Swears that something came out of a swampy area in Florida as they were driving home. And she's telling me this, and I'm going, I know that she is a smart person. I know that she is not she does not have psychiatric problems. So I asked her just a bunch of questions. First of all, had you been drinking that morning? Had you had mimosas or Bloody Marys? No. I said, but you did get off a cruise ship. Are you sure? No, nothing like that. I asked her, had she been taking any medication? Not, no, nothing. A blood pressure pill, that's about it, that kind of thing. But both her and her twin sister saw it at the same time.
This was in Florida, you
It was
said?
in Florida.
So it was not a Bigfoot. It was probably a skunk ape.
A skunk ape?
I think that's what they call it down there in
Skunk
Florida.
ape.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe so. But this is what they told. So, okay, real quick. And I know we've got some other calls, but now I'm down a rabbit hole. So this is what they told her. She did call the police. She didn't get video of it because I'm like, did you get your phone? Could you take a picture? She goes, I was so terrified. Both of them. She said, we stopped the car in the middle of the road. They had taken some back roads because there had been a hurricane had come through. They were on a cruise ship, but a hurricane had come through that part of Florida. And so the interstate, I guess, was closed because they had some damage or whatnot. So they were taking some back roads to get back to Illinois, right? Or Texas. Well, anyway, so they were taking back roads. So there was some swampy areas that they were driving through. And they said this creature came out of the swampy area and stood there on the side of the road looking at them. And she said it was about 7 feet tall and just like hairy kind of. She said, what? And I said, was it an ape, or a gorilla? Or she said, no, it was a man, but with just hair everywhere and scary. And I go,
there are probably some people in that area of Florida that look that way, maybe.
Well, so here's the thing. So they went ahead and called the police, and the police didn't laugh at her either. An investigator called her and said, you're not the first person that has told us something like this, and it happens usually after a hurricane or a crazy storm. The police officer said there actually are people that live off the grid. They're swamp people. They live in the swamp areas off the grid. And when hurricanes or things like that happen, it kind of drives them to higher ground because it's overrun with water or what have you. And so they are so disheveled because they're so off the grid that they look like, Bigfoot or, and I said, did that make sense to you? And she goes, yes and no. She said, I'm telling you, this was a creature. This was not, someone living off the grid. And I go, did they, cuss at you or what did they do? She said that it just looked at them at the car and then just walked back into the woods. Just looked at them, That's what she says.
Hey.
And I believe her. People are asking, are you a believer? No, but I believe her. I believe she probably saw something. I don't know that it was Bigfoot.
You never know.
All right. Rick in Manchester's on the line. Rick, if you can hold on. I'm up against the clock here. I need to take a break on Freak Out Friday. And as you can see, whatever it is that you're freaking out about, I will not judge you. You are more than welcome to call Miss Pamela. Dollar Store Reba wants to hear from you on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey everybody, I'm Paul Winkler. The financial world can be full of landmines for investors. On the one hand, investment firms and the financial community will often overcomplicate the financial planning process to confuse investors. As one guy who used to work a big investment firm once told me, if an investor thinks that they're over their head, they'll blindly trust you. And it's easier to sell to them. I'm glad I'm away from that. On the other hand, many people oversimplify investing to the detriment of investors. Just having a little knowledge can be really dangerous. The idea there is the same. It's just a different way of selling things. At Paul Winkler Inc., we like working alongside our clients with an education guidance approach. I believe that there's confidence that comes with knowing what you're doing and why. We abide by the very highest level of fiduciary care, and we use the most sophisticated financial planning tools out there. And every one of our offices is run by a degreed planner with over 20 years experience. No kids fresh out of college. If that sounds like a winning formula, set up a free 15-minute phone call to learn more. Go to paulwinkler.com or call 615-851-1950. You can do this.
The United States planning on sending cluster munitions to Ukraine. We explain what those are and what that means. Plus, a man threatening to explode a Tennessee school today, now arrested and charged. And Major League Baseball All-Star Weekend getting underway in Seattle. That and more coming up at 4 p.m. I'm Mac Morey right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you very much, Mac Morey. Now, every time he says cluster, sending cluster bombs, right? And I want to say for the cluster, you know what, of a war. I do every time. I'm wrong. Jesus is going to have to forgive me.
You can think it. Just don't
say it. Yeah, no kidding.
It took me a second. I was like, what's she talking about? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that word. All right. It is 3:56, and it is indeed Freak Out Friday on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Is the camera on Mac right now? Because he's dancing, buddy. I love it. I love it. All right. What are you freaking out about today, ladies and gentlemen? You can call. It's the Safe Zone here with Dollar Store Reba. 615-737-9986. Let's go to Rich in Manchester. Hey, Rich.
Hey, how's it going, Pamela?
Pretty good. How about with you?
Oh, can't complain. So it's not more of a freak out, but you were talking about the water contamination situation in the country. And for a brief time in my work history, about 6 years, I worked for a company where we did water well testing all over the country. And I would say probably 75%, this is just my estimate, of our jobs were either military bases or where government contractors were doing work for the military over the years. We're talking stuff way back from World War II where they're making chemical weapons.
Right.
Rocket testing back in the 60s and 50s and 60s, and these chemicals are still in the ground. I mean,
and in the water.
Except now they're in the groundwater, and so now they're spread out over miles and miles and miles. And I mean, one water well, we put our equipment down, everything came out looking like molasses, and we actually had to throw it away after that one well. We couldn't decontaminate
Wow.
water.
Wow.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yikes.
So honestly, I think it's probably worse than
we know.
They make it out to be.
Yeah. No kidding. See, another thing that's just going to keep me up at night. Thank you very much, Rick, that is, for your phone call. Have a great day. All right, coming up at 4:05, we're going to talk a little First Amendment issues with Fry J. Attorney Jay St. Clair is going to join us. I'm stealing him from Matt Murphy as we talk about a federal judge who blocked key administration at agencies, Biden administration agencies, from meeting and communicating with social media companies. All right, so that's on the way on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Four o'clock, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. 88 degrees, and today expected to stay dry. This weekend to stay hot, but those thunderstorms expected to come and go Saturday and Sunday. Complete weather and traffic coming up 5 minutes away. The United States announced plans to send cluster munitions to Ukraine to help boost their offensive on the front lines, but the decision appears to be a reversal in how the United States previously condemned Russia using those munitions on the battlefield. Im Nguyen has more.
The Biden administration will send additional military aid to Ukraine, including controversial cluster munitions, said National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan.
There is a big difference between the type of cluster munition being used by Russia and the type that we would provide to Ukraine.
This comes after U.S. Ambassador Linda Greenfield condemned Russia last year for using cluster munitions.
Exceptionally lethal weaponry.
Military analysts say the weapons can be critical to Ukraine's counteroffensive, even if it means heightened tensions between the U.S. and Russia.
And right now in Tennessee, a man threatened to blow up Belmont United Methodist Church. Channel 4 reports that the church school evacuated out of precaution. People at the building saw him run inside. Officials were called. They found him on the third floor where he surrendered. The man was unarmed and he's now charged. And over to some news of a UPS strike, which now appears imminent. That from the head of the union representing 340,000 UPS workers. Here's Dave Packer.
Negotiations between union workers and UPS breaking down earlier this week. Today, union officials said was the final deadline for the company to improve its offer. Teamsters General President Sean O'Brien telling GMA3.
UPS just has to pick up the phone, tell us they're going to agree to what our bottom line is, and they know what our bottom line is. We've been very transparent in these negotiations, and they know what needs to happen.
O'Brien described part-time UPS workers' wages as poverty pay and says after the stress of working through the pandemic, they deserve to be rewarded for their commitment.
Gun theft in Tennessee. News 2 reports that 38 firearms were stolen from Sumner Gun and Supply overnight. 2 entered the business by breaking a window, while the third suspect remained in the vehicle. A reward of $5,000 has been offered to anyone who can help provide information that leads to an arrest of those that are responsible. And in some sports news, as Major League Baseball's All-Star Week gets underway in Seattle, Brian Clark says a new event seeks to honor a group that may not have as many opportunities on a national stage.
Players from historically black colleges and universities will square off in the HBCU Swingman All-Star Classic. The 50 players will be selected by a group that includes the Swingman, Seattle Mariners icon Ken Griffey Jr. Black participation in baseball has fallen in recent years. A study found that black players made up barely 6% of Major League Baseball's opening day rosters. The event will also honor players who've played at HBCUs and went on to Major League careers.
And that is the latest news. Traffic and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Good afternoon. It is 4:06. I'm Pamela Furr, in for Brian Wilson on the drive on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Glad to have you with us today. It is Freak Out Friday, but we're going to put that on hold for a moment because it's also, what do they say? Friday? Now, I don't know what else Matt Murphy says to introduce this guy. I just know that I love his voice and I love his brain. It's Jay St. Clair from Birmingham, Alabama. Hello, Jay St. Clair.
Well, hey, Miss Pamela, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
If I was any better, I'd be my dog,
Olivia.
The Secretary of Homeland Security.
I love that. That's funny. All right. Well, we're just going to get to it. Can we do that, Jay? I don't want to keep. I mean, you're a busy man.
Hey, listen, the meter's running, Pamela, so,
And you
there you
charge a
go.
lot.
Yeah, just don't get paid a lot.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. There you go. Now, so if people don't know you, because I don't know that you've been on in this time slot very often. I know some, but you practice law in Birmingham, Alabama, but you went to school, right? UT. You are a UT graduate. You're a Vol.
Yeah, well, actually, I was born in Sequatchie County, which is down around Chattanooga. And then when I was, I think, 1 or 2 years old, Pamela, I moved to Murfreesboro. My
Mm-hmm.
dad had just gotten out of the Air Force, and he went to Mitsu. I guess they still call it Mitsu, to get his degree. And then when he got his degree in the early 60s, we moved to Huntsville because the space program.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But both sets of grandparents, so I had a set of grandparents lived in Murfreesboro, and the other set that lived down in Dunlap. So, and then went to UT. So, yeah, I'm a Tennessee guy. Everybody down here says, well, what's this Tennessee guy doing in Birmingham? I said, well, we got to plant the ball flag somewhere.
Got to. All right, and you went to law school, and we can get into that here in just a minute. But this is the reason why I wanted to have you on. There is a major development. There's a legal battle, basically over the limits of free speech online. A federal judge in Louisiana is limiting the Biden administration from contacting social media companies. The judge says that the administration likely violated the First Amendment when it pressured those companies to remove certain posts over the course of the pandemic, which I think if you're any kind of conservative, you knew that your posts were either getting removed, shadow banned, all of those things. If you dare question the Biden administration over the way that they handled COVID, if you said anything that might have been questionable about vaccines, Anthony Fauci, where the COVID-19 virus came from, all of that.
Or the Hunter Biden laptop.
Yeah, or the Hunter Biden laptop. You're right. So tell me, is this a big deal? I mean, it seems like it's a big deal to me, and I don't know that any of our news agencies like ABC, NBC, CNN, and all of those, I don't know that they're making a big deal out of this. This seems like it's a big deal. I don't know that, any administration has been slapped on the hand quite like this when it comes to the First Amendment.
Well, no, it's the first of its kind, Pamela, and it is a big deal, both legally and potentially politically. But you're right, the mainstream press is basically ignoring it. We'll see if that holds true going forward. But the facts of the case are just remarkable. But, I always like to start up around 50,000 feet, and then we'll get down more particular. This is all about the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. Congress. Mm-hmm. And now, that's been interpreted to mean the government. Mm-hmm. The government shall not abridge free speech. Private people can abridge free speech, right? I mean, my joke with Matt Murphy, who I've known for some time, Georgia fan, Tennessee fan, that, he wants me over for the Georgia-Tennessee game, but you can't sing Rocky Top.
Right.
Sing Rocky Top, I'm going to throw you out of my house. Matt, that violates my First Amendment rights. Well, Jay, I'm not the government.
And so, he reminds you of that often, yeah.
Yeah, and so what we have here, Pamela, is this interesting thing where the people who actually abridged the speech, they censored the speech, they were private companies. Mm-hmm. Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok,
the others, yeah. YouTube.
They're private companies. Mm-hmm. And so everybody's saying, well, private companies can do what they want to, but not if the government is in effect directing them to do that.
Right.
Or the legal terms that get used, Pamela, or if the government coerces them to do that, or significantly influences them to do that.
Well, and here's the thing that I find. I was talking to a colleague before I went on the air at 3 about this. If the Biden administration or someone within the Biden administration calls me on the phone and says, I'm going to need you to pull that back, it's going to be real difficult for me to say, I don't think so, because it's the Biden administration. You're going to be fearful of what they may do to me. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But here it goes even a little bit more than that, Pamela. I mean, the facts are striking. The opinion's 155 pages long. I've got it right here in my lap. But here's the analogy I've been thinking of, and maybe it'll help people understand it. Think about search warrants, right? They can't come search your house without a search warrant. Well, let's say the government thinks you might have evidence of a crime in your house, of a bloody knife. But they don't know. They really don't have enough enough evidence to get a warrant. So they know Matt Murphy's coming over to your house Friday night. And so they say to, hey, Matt, I know you're going to Pamela's house Friday night. We want you to look around the house and see if you can find a bloody knife. And if you do, we want you to get that knife and bring it to us. And if you do that, we will pay you $10,000. Well, is that legal? No, it's not legal. Right?
Because he's stealing property. He's stealing somebody else.
And that's them searching your house
without a search warrant. Yeah.
That's the part of it that I'm saying is illegal.
Yeah, yeah.
Or what if they say the same thing, Matt? When you're over there, we want you to search this bloody knife. If you find it, grab it and come give it to us. But if you don't, we're going to arrest you for speeding.
Right.
On I-65 last week. We got it on tape. We didn't arrest you at the time, but we're going to arrest you for speeding. Well, that's coercion.
That's coercion.
So that's how the government is using a private person as really an arm of the government.
Well, here's
the government.
Well, here's something that I want you to consider. There are critics of this, right? Of course, there's going to be. And there is a guy that ABC News has actually used as a legal expert. I don't think he has quite the mind as you do. But I want you to listen to what he had to say. He's a professor of law at NYU Law School. And like I said, he is criticizing that ruling. That is, if it'll play. Here we go. Do you have my computer up? Let's see. Let me try this again, Jay. This is on me. I'm technically challenged today. Let's try this.
I think it violates something called the government speech doctrine. The government speech doctrine, as recognized by the Supreme Court, gives government officials a constitutional right to try to inform and persuade individuals to go along with government policy.
All right. Did you hear that?
I did. And the key words he used were inform or persuade. Well, that's not what this case is about. This is about coercion or significantly influence. You say that guy was a law professor?
Yeah. Yes.
Where did he get his law degree? Walmart?
No, NYU Law School.
Well, that's where he teaches. I bet he got his law degree at Walmart. We can talk Walmarts.
Walmart's in Alabama. Well, and I looked up, I wanted to see for myself, the government speech doctrine is a principle of constitutional law that says, although the First Amendment's free speech clause limits government regulation of private speech, it does not restrict the government when the government speaks for itself. But in this case, and what this judge is saying, the government wasn't speaking for itself. The government, more or less, was heavy-handedly coercing these companies.
Or significantly influencing. Those are the legal terms of arts at issue. They weren't informing.
Yeah.
They weren't, what was I think the other word he used was persuading.
Yeah.
No, they said at one point to these social media people, if y'all don't get with the program here, we may have to look at this Section 230 neutrality.
Yeah, that's a threat.
That's a threat. That's man, I'm going to put you in jail if you don't go look for that knife in Pamela's house. That is coercion. That's not informing. That's coercion. The facts of this are just astounding. And, the judge is really well written. And he ends up the opinion by quoting Harry Truman.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to read this.
Okay.
Once a government is committed to the principle of silencing the voice of opposition, it has only one place to go, and that is down the path of increasingly repressive measures until it becomes a source of terror to all of its citizens and creates a country where everyone lives in fear.
Wow.
That's Harry Truman. The facts are really astounding, and it involves not only the White House, CDC, the State Department, but it involves the FBI. And here's one of the things the judge really focused on. I think that really got under his skin. One of the ways they coerced these companies, they didn't tell them the truth, Pamela.
Yeah.
And this is about the Hunter Biden laptop.
Right.
They knew that laptop was real, Pamela. They knew it wasn't Russian disinformation.
They knew it was real, and they knew what could potentially be on it.
And they never told these companies that. Yeah. Instead, they told them, hey, we think there's going to be a Russian hack and dump operation.
Mm-hmm. Election interference.
From the FBI. And that, I think, really offended the judge. This could be a big case, frankly, more for political reasons than legal reasons. No one's going to go to jail over this.
Right.
And frankly, they'll probably still keep talking to each other. They just won't do it by email.
Right. Right. That's what got them into trouble. Well, and here's what is mind-blowing to me. Had this happened in Harry Truman's day, had this happened Richard Nixon's day, had this happened Jimmy Carter days, or even Bill Clinton's days, heads would be rolling and resignations would be offered. This would be a huge scandal. And it just is not getting any traction, which just blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind.
No, mine too. We've become just so politicized and fractured as a country.
And journalism is dead. So you have very few journalists even reporting this anymore.
No,
Jay, I am at 4:20 right now. Can I put you on? Can you stay with us a little longer? I mean, since I have kidnapped you from Matt Murphy, I figure I might as well get the most out of you that I can.
Ma'am, I'll stay here as long as you want me to.
All right, good deal. Stay with us. It is the Drive with Brian Wilson. I had to think about that for a second. It's the Drive with Brian Wilson on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We'll have more with Jay St. Clair coming up on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Endangered child found safely in Tennessee. A briefing over the cocaine that was found at the White House set for next week. And we'll also have today's Money News. Those stories and more coming up 30 minutes after the hour of 4 o'clock. I'm Mac Morey right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right. Thank you, Mac Morey. I appreciate that. Oh, have we done his theme song? You know I have a theme song for Mac Morey. It's When the Moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie. That's Mac Morey.
I didn't know I was supposed to join in there.
Yes, it's group
Wow.
sing. It's group sing. All right. It is the Drive with Brian Wilson. I am Pamela Furr filling in today. It's just kind of a fun Friday. And it's also Friday. We still have Jay St. Clair on the line with us down in Birmingham, Alabama. I guess I need to figure out a way to sing a theme song for you. We'll find one somehow or another.
Well, let's see. I think we have the Law and Order and that little thing that we.
Yeah, but I can't sing
Griffith
that.
Show, the Andy Griffith Show is my favorite TV show.
I can't whistle. No, can't do it. You don't want to hear anymore. It's a disastrous thing. So, all right, let's get back to what we were talking about, Jay. Jay St. Clair, an attorney in Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, a friend of Matt Murphy's. They do Fridays every week, but I stole him from Matt just so we can talk about this case coming from a Louisiana judge that basically has said, stop it, government. You cannot contact social media companies anymore until this case is resolved. And I guess I need to know what's next in this case. He's made the case. He has apparently a ton of evidence where the Biden administration and different agencies under the Biden administration more or less coerced social media companies not to allow information to be disseminated, like about the Hunter.
Censored. Right, censored.
Yeah, censored it. Yeah, like the Hunter laptop, COVID info, COVID questions, vaccine, et cetera, et cetera. So what's next for this case?
So now the case will proceed on two tracks, Pamela. The government's already appealed it. I expect that they'll ask for a stay. They'll ask for this order to be put on ice until the case is over with. We're really on the front end of the case, Pamela. This was a preliminary injunction. So they go to court and say, look, something bad's happening, and it's so bad we want you to stop it even before we have a trial. And so that's where they were. That's where they are. And the judge says, you know what, y'all have presented enough evidence to me that I am going to stop this pending the full-blown trial. So in his court, they will proceed to a full-blown trial. The wheels of justice turn slowly.
Yeah.
Yes. I would be shocked if that trial happens within a year. It might, but that would surprise me. In the meantime, they will be appealing this to a higher court. It'll go to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, and they'll probably ask that court to lift the stay and say, no, the judge should not interfere with our ability to talk to a face crack or whatever that thing's called until the trial. We hadn't had a full-blown trial yet. So it'll go on two tracks. Not a lot will happen. It'll fade out of the news. Not much about it's newsworthy, once the judges issue this decision.
Right.
So it'll go what I call dormant, probably for a few weeks or maybe even a few months. In the meantime, he didn't say you can't have any contact with them. They can still do law enforcement stuff and that sort of thing.
Sure.
But don't coerce them or don't significantly influence them. It's going to be really hard to police that, right? I mean, the judge isn't going to watch the communications. The people that file this won't be privy to the communications.
Sure.
So they'll talk to them. And, with a wink and a nod.
Right. Well, and we'll have to see as election season continues to blow wide open, we'll see what kind of information gets shadow banned or not, or if places like the New York Post, if they have new and compelling information that just puts the Biden administration in a bad light, if they're not able to share that, then we'll know something's up.
That's right. And then, of course, there's been a sea change in the whole social media platform industry with Mr. Musk buying Twitter.
Sure.
And, where he has said we are going to be a free speech place.
Right.
So even, I don't think if the president of the United States called Elon Musk and said, you got to quit allowing this stuff on there. I think he'd say, sir, this is my company.
Yeah, I think you would say pound sand.
That's my name on the front door. And so even if they get Face Crack and those other ones not to publish it, I think Twitter will. And that's a change in the marketplace.
Yeah, that very much so. Very much so. All right, Jay St. Clair, on that note, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for spending time with me. And thank you for allowing me to hear your voice for about 30 minutes. That's really all the reason why I wanted to have you on the air.
My pleasure. Miss Pamela, call me anytime.
All right. Talk to you soon. Have a great day. That's Jay St. Clair, everybody. It is 4:30. Time for news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
4:30, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. 88 degrees and expected to stay dry on this Friday. Storms could pop up over the weekend as temps will stay near the 90s. Full weather forecast, latest traffic report on the way in 5 minutes. Endangered child found safe. 10-year-old Kyle Crimmins Jr. left his home on Kemper Drive in Nashville yesterday at 11 a.m. and has just now been found in the past hour and a half or so. Kyle reportedly ran into a wooded area near his home after getting into a fight with his parents. Channel 4 was able to talk with the public information officer and ask about some of the difficulties in finding the boy.
A lot of wooded area, a lot of heavily wooded area. So as I mentioned, Air 1 was flying and they do have some capabilities to be looking in wooded areas, but these tree lines out here are just very dense. So that definitely added to it, as well as just some of the creek lines out here, ditches and things. Over at the park, there's also a lot of ditches and wells and things that we were looking into. So a very dedicated effort today to find Kyle safely.
And the TBI said that this was always treated as a runaway case. Over in the nation's capital, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer has opened an investigation into the cocaine that was found in the White House, telling the Secret Service he wants a briefing by next week. And now over to some money news. Daria Albinger walks us through what went down on Wall Street today.
Stocks fell to end the week as investors digest the latest employment report. The Dow fell 187 points, the Nasdaq was off 18, and the S&P gave up 13. Another month, another solid gain for the job market, but it wasn't quite as solid as we've seen in recent months. The 209,000 jobs added in June, the smallest monthly gain in 2.5 years. It was still enough, however, to push the jobless rate nationally down from 3.7% to 3.6%, just above a half-century low. The employment numbers are also the latest sign that the economy may be able to avoid a recession. It also makes it all but certain that the Federal Reserve will resume its interest rate hikes later this month as it tries to bring inflation to the 2% target rate. See you in court. That's what Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub are telling New York City. They're suing over new minimum pay rules for food delivery workers.
And that is the latest news. Traffic and weather on the way. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is 4:37. I am Pamela Furr in for Brian Wilson on the drive. He'll be back on Monday. I did, by the way, hear from him. It was a quick text. It was no thank you.
Wow.
That was
Alrighty
it.
then.
Yeah, not, we're having a great time. Thank you for asking. But he blah, blah, blah. No, thank you. So he's very focused,
I guess so,
on his vacation. And I don't blame him. Boy, he's been going through it, hasn't he?
Yes.
And he's been very public about it. Correct. I'm not saying anything out of school with his shingles battle. You know what, though? So I decided I wanted to get the shingles vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm not a big proponent of vaccines. Please, anti-vaxxers, don't at me. And if you're freaking out about it, because it is freak out. Hey, it's Freak Out Friday. So I guess you can call me if you want. 615-737-9986 and freak out about vaccines if you want to. I'm not a huge vaxxer, as they say. I mean, I got all my vaccines as a kid, and I turned out okay.
Maybe.
I guess it depends on your perspective. And I have had a tetanus shot or two over the years, that sort of thing. I did get the COVID vaccine, but only 2 shots, no more, just 2. And I do kind of regret that, just being honest. And I'm thinking about the shingles shot. Well, check this out. Apparently, I've already had it. I already got it. And I have no recollection, zilch of getting it. I went to my doctor and I said, I'm thinking about getting this shingles shot. Tell me more about it. I had a colleague that ended up with the shingles and I don't want to get it. I've had chicken pox. What do I need to do? And she said, well, Pamela, you already got the shot.
Well, that solves that.
Okay. Well, actually, I got this brand, I guess, that you get 2 shots. And I got the first shot, but never came back for the second because I have no recollection of the first. So she said, it's too late to get the second. And I go, well, what does that mean? And she said, well, this manufacturer, they recommend that you get it within 3 months of the first shot. And I said, well, what does that mean? And she goes, it means that you didn't get the second shot. I go, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, does that mean I'm halfway vaccinated? That means I have 50% less chance of getting it? Or what is it? Can I go back and start over?
That's what I was thinking. Can you get the first shot again?
And I haven't heard back from her. Of course, she's also a doctor that I don't see anymore because I had to change my insurance. My insurance doesn't pay for that's for visits to her. But I needed to know, some of this information to give to the new doctor, right? So I've just been kind of left out in the cold. So I don't know if I am immune. I have no idea. I just know I don't want the shingles.
Yeah, me either.
Just the way it's been described. My mother had it, and now Brian's got it. No way, Jose, do I want this. Yeah, somebody just super texted, maybe the shingle shot affected your memory. Maybe so. Maybe that's a side effect. Yikes. All right, 615-737-9986. So what freaks you out? I ask you. Call us now, or you can super text as well. John is in Franklin on Super Talk 99.7 WTN on Freak Out Friday. Hello.
Hey, Pam. How you doing?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you. I wanted to give you a freak out here. The other day I went into the Sprout store and got some things. And when I went out, the lady said, well, would you like to purchase a bag to carry your groceries out? And I said, what? When did I land in Delaware or California or New Jersey? And she said, no, they're charging 10 cents a bag now. And I said, no, I don't want one. I didn't get one for principle alone. But the thing is that they keep trying to shove this thing down our throats, and I get the greed aspect of it. They won't admit it, but it's a greed aspect. Yet down on the Duck River in Columbia, they're about to build a landfill right next to the Duck River on Monsanto land. And yet this whole thing, we're supposed to take the brunt and pay 10 cents more. I'm just curious how people feel about that, because I'll just carry my bags out in the box or something.
Well, is
Just
that
don't
what they
think-
normally, you said this was Sprouts, is
No.
that normally their model?
Nope. Everything has always been you carry your bag, or you carry your groceries out in a bag that they provide for you, a little plastic bag. So now they're charging 10 cents. And I thought, you know what, you could raise everything in the store a penny and you would make your quota on that, because that's the cost of doing business. So how long does it take before, you go into a restaurant and they say, well, if you want to take a takeout, it's going to cost you. It's like, that's the cost of doing business, guys. So I'm just curious if anybody else has experienced that as well, and if it's coming to Tennessee, this new world order, whether we want it or not.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your phone call, John. Here's what I will say to that. If I'm not mistaken, Aldi's does that, don't they?
Yes, Aldi does not provide bags. You have to purchase them unless you have your own.
Unless you have your own. Or they do provide boxes
Right,
you have to put
the stock came in.
Right, but you have to put it in the boxes yourself.
Yes, they do not bag.
They do not bag it for you. So I don't know that that's a new thing. It just sounds like maybe it's new for that particular store. Yeah. And I have to be honest with you, when I go to Aldi's, boy, your prices are so much better at Aldi's.
Get some good stuff there.
You really can. And so I don't mind bagging it myself if I'm saving that much money on groceries. Now, there are some things for me. I like certain brands of things, and any other brand doesn't taste the same for me. So if Aldi's doesn't carry it, I'll have to go get it someplace else. But I keep forgetting, truthfully, about Aldi's.
It's that shingle shot you got.
Is that what it is? Somebody also said that I'm a half-wit because of that. Okay, that's funny. 615-737-9986. Craig says that on the bag issue, he says a few restaurants already have a to-go fee.
Really?
I didn't know that.
What's next? They're going to charge you for a cup? You want that drink in a cup?
We have to charge you. Well, they do charge you extra. Like if you just want to go inside and get a cup of ice, they charge you, sometimes full price.
Ooh.
Which I think is just ridiculous. I will say this also. Now the idea just popped in my head and then it just left me. The bag issue, restaurants. To-go fee. Do you tip when you go to a restaurant and get food to go? Me neither. And it has that little area for a tip. But if I am picking it up, why am I tipping the server if I'm the one going in and getting it? I might do $2 if the person is bringing it out to my car. But they always look at me like, are you sure are you sure you want to sign this? You sure you don't want to look this over again? Yeah, and I am aware super texters are saying Sam's doesn't provide bags for your food either. No, that's very true. They don't. But I don't know. Do they charge anything for that? That's a good question. 615-737-9986 is the phone number. Let's go to Jill, who is in Franklin. Hi, Jill.
Hello. I was just wanting to let you know that I questioned Sprouts as well, but their reasoning is that they're trying to cut back environmentally friendly kind of thing where they're giving you, the bag now has like handles on it, and they charge you, but they're no longer accepting like any other like plastic bags. Like that one is supposed to be reusable. It's a heavier bag.
So a 10-cent bag is reusable, so they want you to bring it in when you come back.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's supposed to be, to save on plastic kind of thing.
Sure. Okay, gotcha. All right, thank you very much, Jill, for that
You're welcome.
clarification. Let's go to John in Gallatin, 615-737-9986. Hey, John.
Hey, Pam. Yeah, I just wanted to build on, I was at Waffle House the other day and got to-go orders. It cost me $5 in fees to go. Then they asked me if I wanted cutlery, So I said, of course, and they charged me another $5 and something just to get my plastic. Yeah, so I paid over $10 in fees just to get to-go meals at Waffle House.
No kidding. I had no idea that was a thing.
I didn't either until I got home and was like, what did I spend this $10 on? And then it was for plasticware and to-go fees.
Good grief. All right. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. That would freak me out. 615-737-9986. Hey, John in Greenbrier, what is up?
Hey, Pamela, how you doing this Friday afternoon?
Fabulous. How are you?
Good. It's been a little bit since I called in. I just wanted to, I heard your statement on tipping, and I got to say, I kind of disagree.
Do you? Tell me why.
You know, one of the things as conservatives we try to do is we try to maintain this ability for people to function without government intervention. And I understand that it can be annoying when a barista turns a thing around and has a 20% tip mark on a $3 cup of coffee that they just poured. But the idea for me is I always have a bare minimum tip of around $2. I don't care if it's 99 cents that you're getting, and then I try to, on average, tip between 25 and 30%. 30% if service is excellent, 25% is bare minimum. During the pandemic, all these people couldn't find jobs. We couldn't find waiters. We couldn't find servers.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, I've been making an active effort. If I see somebody treating a server like trash, I'm one of the first people to call it out and call that person out then and there.
Right.
We don't want these people relying on the government. We want these people to be able to function.
I don't disagree, but isn't it your job to hand somebody their food when it's to go? Why am I tipping for that when that's already their job?
Yeah, absolutely. It is their job, and that's just one of the ways that we get to supplement their income to some extent that keeps them from having to go to the government and basically taxing us even more as a result of it. I understand the frustration of being like, hey, you know, all you did was turn around a screen pad for me, but it's got a $1 to $2 thing. That's going to keep a kid from thinking that, you know, they got to resort to the state supplementing their lifestyle and their income. I implore all conservatives to take that option and to be like, you know what, if I've got that extra dollar, I've got that extra dollar. If you don't, that's a completely different story. But, you know, you and me, we're doing pretty good financially. Man, it's just 99 cents. Let's show people that conservatives actually can do this and can help people out. I think it's important that we take a stand and make a principled kind of investment in our communities and in the people who, you know, kind of make our lives easier day by day.
Well, I mean, I haven't gone that far with it, but John, I guess this is a new lesson for Pamela today. Thank you very much. I think I've been tip shamed. I'm teasing.
No worries.
Have a good day, John. I appreciate it. I mean, he really thought this through.
He really had a pretty good argument, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking it is your job to hand me my food. Now, if you're serving me, you're my server, and you're coming back with tea, and you're coming back with, you know, all of that. Is your food okay? Do you need some more bread? You know, whatever. I usually tip pretty well. I tip my pizza guy. Of course, I haven't tipped a pizza guy in a very, very long time because I'm on this Awaken 180. But and if you're an Uber driver and you engage in great conversation, you're nice, you help me with my bags at the, you know, when I'm loading from the airport, all that, you get a really good tip from Sister Pamela. You know what I mean? So, I do tip. I just, on the to-go part, I just don't or haven't. Maybe I'll rethink. It's $4.50. I'm Pamela, tip shamed. I'm telling you. What are you laughing at? I've been tip shamed. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey everybody, I'm Paul Winkler. The financial world can be full of landmines for investors. On the one hand, investment firms and the financial community will often overcomplicate the financial planning process to confuse investors. As one guy who used to work a big investment firm once told me, if an investor thinks that they're over their head, they'll blindly trust you. And it's easier to sell to them. I'm glad I'm away from that. On the other hand, many people oversimplify investing to the detriment of investors. Just having a little knowledge can be really dangerous. The idea there is the same. It's just a different way of selling things. At Paul Winkler Inc., we like working alongside our clients with an education guidance approach. I believe that there's confidence that comes with knowing what you're doing and why. We abide by the very highest level of fiduciary care, and we use the most sophisticated financial planning tools out there. And every one of our offices is run by a degreed planner with over 20 years experience. No kids fresh out of college. If that sounds like a winning formula, Set up a free 15-minute phone call to learn more. Go to paulwinkler.com or call 615-851-1950. You can do this.
Ten-year-old in Tennessee found safe. An update on a teenager that was considered armed and dangerous, and a police chase ensues after criminals were found breaking into cars. Those stories and more coming up 5 o'clock. I'm Mac Morey right here. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you very much, Mac Morey. I'm seeing a breaking news story. Apparently, we have destroyed our chemical weapons stockpile. For more than 30 years, the United States has worked tirelessly to eliminate our chemical weapons stockpile. Today, I'm proud to announce this from Joe Biden, that the United States has safely destroyed the final munition in that stockpile, bringing us one step closer to a world free from the horrors of chemical weapons. Interesting. All right, so that happened today, so I wanted to make sure I passed that along to you. That just, I think, is breaking as we speak. 615-737-9986 on Freak Out Friday. Patrick is on the line in Lebanon. Hello, Patrick.
Hello, Pamela. I love you. Love the show.
Aw, thank you. I love you too.
My favorite redhead, by the way. Hey, I want to talk about the tipping. You talk about the to-go. I do not tip for that. But if I walk in and pick something up to go, and they do go the extra mile to pack my stuff right, yes, I'll even tip at McDonald's. But as far as
you do, I don't think they're allowed to take tips, are they? Well, they do, I guess.
Yeah, if you
give them a
some cash,
$5,
they're not going to turn it around. But as far as a sit-down restaurant, I have one I favor here in Lebanon, and I mean the tipping, it gets you better service the next time, and I know what they make because I did it before I, got me a real job. Well, I don't want to say a real job. Before I got me a job in the trades, and you have to. I mean, if not everyone in the restaurant's making $2.10 an hour or whatever it is now. That's what it was back when I did it, and I don't think it's went up since then. But
yikes!
If they give you exemplary service, you need to give them exemplary pay.
Sure. Now, and I do that. I do that when I'm at restaurants and I'm the one paying. I do try to tip well if they've given me good service. But again, for the takeout, I just haven't. I'm just being honest, just being open.
The one other thing I was going to say, it pays the tip so they don't spit in your soup.
I don't even want to think about it. Now you've got me freaking out, Patrick. Why would you do that to me?
Because I have friends in the restaurant industry. It happens.
Patrick, you did say that you worked in the restaurant industry.
I never spit in anyone.
All right, I'm just making sure, Patrick.
No, I was my first job was in a restaurant at 14.
Nice.
I like feeding people and making them happy.
Nice.
But these That was in 1980. This is different times.
Isn't that the truth? All right. Thank you, Patrick, for your telephone call.
Love y'all.
Thank you. Have a good day. You know, I was a server at a restaurant here in Nashville for 2 weeks.
2 whole weeks.
I could not take it. No, and no. It was at the Cooker. Do you remember the Cooker? No, see, you guys
No, I
don't
don't
remember
know
the
that.
Cooker. I worked at the Cooker. I worked at the one on, was it West End, or did I work at the one in, didn't they have one in Hermitage or Lebanon Road? Anyway, I worked at the Cooker, and I just couldn't stand rude people. So there was someone that was just so extremely rude to me. So they ended up with a glass of tea on their head.
Uh-oh.
And I said, I quit. Goodbye. So that was the end of my, yeah. Today I would be arrested for assault.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah, that was not the work for me. So that's why I try to appreciate the hard work that they do. And I sure do miss the Cooker, man. They had the best food. Oh my gosh, it was so good. All right, 4:58 on Freak Out Friday. Full phone lines. We'll try to get you in here when we come back on Freak Out Friday, 615-737-9986. I'm Pamela Furr, in for the vacationing Brian Wilson on the drive on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. News is next.
Five o'clock, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. Right now, 89 degrees and a sunny day in Tennessee. No rain tonight, but this weekend, expect some storms, possibly severe storms, coming here tomorrow night to the mid-state. Complete weather forecast, latest traffic report upcoming in 5 minutes. Endangered child found safe. 10-year-old Kyle Crimmins Jr. left his home on Kemper Drive in Nashville yesterday around 11 a.m. Has just been found today a couple of hours ago. Kyle reportedly ran into a wooded area near his home after getting into a fight with his parents. Channel 4 was able to talk with the public information officer and ask what tactics they used to locate the boy.
After the amount of hours that had gone by, we just continued to put in more manpower and resources into it. We had Air 1 flying up. We had our mounted patrol units. We had other precincts, detective teams come out here. We had youth services, domestic violence. We had Sumner County's non-aggressive bloodhound dogs searching for him that were actually on scene when he was located. So a lot of different resources that went into finding Kyle.
The TBI said that this was always treated as a runaway case. In an update on a Tennessee teenager that was considered armed and dangerous, Metro Police say Hunter Johnson was located a while ago in a South Nashville neighborhood unarmed and in good condition. He'll be taken for treatment of minor injuries and evaluation. Johnson was the subject of a search after he fired shots inside of his home and killed a family pet, then took off running into a wooded area. Over to some money news. The 209,000 jobs added in June is the smallest monthly figure in 2.5 years, but the month also saw unemployment move even closer to a 5-decade low, down to 3.6%, one of several factors that show a still strong job market. President Biden hitting the road to try to convince Americans that his economic plan is working. Elizabeth Schulze.
There really is this huge disconnect between the state of the economy, especially the jobs market, and Americans' perception of the economy, about how well things are, the likelihood of a recession, how they feel like they're doing. And one key explanation for that comes down to inflation. Even though prices are moderating, they're not at that record pace of inflation that we've seen over the past year. That has started to come down kind of month by month. Americans are still paying a lot more every month for essentials, including groceries and rent.
Crime in Tennessee. One suspect in custody with at least 6 others still being searched for after people were found breaking into cars. This was at the Landings apartment complex in Brentwood Friday morning. A chase broke out on the I-65. Spike strips had to be deployed. This caused 4 men to run into a wooded area. Police say these men could be armed and dangerous. And the other vehicle containing 3 suspects crashed into a random vehicle on the interstate, and they continued into Nolensville until those tires no longer functioned. One of those suspects is in custody, and the search continues for the other 2. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather upcoming. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Well, good afternoon. It is 6 after 5 o'clock. I'm Pamela Furr, in for Brian Wilson, who's on vacation. He shall return on Monday. That's the Roma, as they say, a Roma. And a tumor with a rumor.
It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor. It's just a rumor. Anyway, so I'm happy to be there. It's finally Friday, and we party around here on Fridays. Oh, yeah. And dance a little.
What's this?
It's Christina Aguilera. What was that?
Wow.
Nice. I like it. All right, so that's what we do. We dance around here. And it is also what we like to call Freak Out Friday. Is there something you're freaking out about today? We would love to take your calls, whatever it is, whatever is on your mind that freaks you out. Today's the day, man. Tell Sister Pamela about it. Dollar Store Reba is standing by.
Dollar store.
Do you know the story?
I do not.
So there is someone on Twitter. Well, I've got some haters. I've got some people that love me, and I got some people that really, really do not like me at all.
All right. That means you're doing something right.
Maybe so. But there's someone who follows me on Twitter. It was one of those woke kind of people. And I don't know. I was commenting about something that and countering the woke ideology. And so she said, look here, Dollar Store Reba. And then, proceeded to tell me off. And I thought, that was the best name I've ever heard.
It's pretty good.
I'm going to use it. And so hashtag Dollar Store Reba is what I've come up with. So anytime you want to hashtag me, feel free on Twitter. And I guess now on tweeds. What did I say? No, it's
tweeds.
I keep saying tweeds.
Threads.
Threads. You could do that on Threads too, and I guess Facebook as well, on all the socials there. But Sister Pamela is ready to listen to what is freaking you out. Corinne Jean-Pierre is freaked out a little bit about some of the questions that she received today during the White House press avail, if you will. Someone actually had the audacity to ask her about the cocaine at the White House again.
Sorry to bring up cocaine again, but there was a question yesterday during press gaggle with Andrew Bates that was, I guess, he said that he was avoiding it because of the Hatch Act. I'm just asking again, can you just say once and for all whether or not the cocaine belonged to the Biden family?
So, oh, by the way, she's making all these faces. Like, seriously? That's the look on her face. Seriously? Corinne Jean-Pierre.
A couple of things there. He mentioned the Hatch Act because the question was posed to him using Donald Trump, and so he was trying to be very mindful.
All right, I'm going to stop right there. Isn't it just real easy to go, it's not the Biden's cocaine? Is that hard? Is that difficult? So instead, she's dancing on this bowling ball, trying to avoid just saying, no, it's not their cocaine. Now, I have to wonder, why can't she just say, no, it's not their cocaine? Because I guess she's not even buying the fact that it might not be. She thinks it actually could be. All right, here we go.
Okay, I hear you, but you're asking me a question, so I'm answering it for you. And so that's why he said the Hatch Act. So I would, have you read the transcript and read the transcript fully so you can see exactly what he was trying to say. So that's number one. So we're not avoiding the question. That is not true. We've answered this question, litigated this question for the last 2 days exhaustively.
Exhaustively?
There has been some irresponsible reporting about the family. And so I got to call that out here. And I have been very clear. I was clear 2 days ago when talking about this over and over again as I was being asked a question. As you know, and media outlets reported this, the Biden family was not here. They were not here. They were.
Okay, but that's not, when you say, is this cocaine yours? You don't say, well, I wasn't in the building. You say, no, it was not.
At Camp David, they were not here Friday. They were
Yeah.
not here Saturday.
Yeah.
They were not here Sunday.
Yeah.
They were not even here Monday.
What?
They came back on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So to ask that question is actually incredibly irresponsible. And I'll just leave it there. Okay.
Incredibly irresponsible, is it? You're going to lecture the press on what irresponsibility is? Miss Jean-Pierre? That cracks me up. I mean, again, it is a simple question. Is the coke? You know what? And if you don't know, you can say, I have to be honest with you. I don't really know. We don't know whose cocaine it is. That's what we're trying to find out. Now, that would be an acceptable answer. We're still trying to investigate. When we know, we'll let you know. We don't know whose it is. Or Hunter could walk out. He could sashay out and go, I've done a blood test. It's not mine. Or he could sashay out and go, you guys, come on, man. And then drop the cocaine as he walks back out. 615-737-9986 is the phone number. It is 513, and Kelly is on the line on this Freak Out Friday. Hello, Kelly. Hello, Kelly. I think Kelly is gone. Kelly has left us. She's gotten another phone call. She switched over. How long did she hold? I feel really bad.
Yeah, it had been.
Been a little bit.
while.
Okay, I feel really bad. Kelly, you can call back, and all those others that held on for a while, feel free to call back, 615-737-9986. I agree with texter 7866, who says it was irresponsible leaving the cocaine in the White House to begin with. Yes. Somebody wants me to call him. Okay, no. All right. A little news. Bowling Green had a police shooting yesterday at about this time. He's in critical condition. Oh, my gosh. I did not know that. Perhaps the officer is at Vanderbilt. Did not know that. But if that is the case, we will certainly say a little prayer right now for that police officer. Someone telling me if you can't afford to tip your server well, then you can't afford to eat out. And the server is also the one that brings you your to-go food. Yeah, I mean, I know that. But they're not serving me through my whole reasoning, and I can change it. I'm not closed-minded to this. I brought this up earlier. Why did we bring this up? I don't even remember now how we went down this rabbit hole. But I guess we were talking about bags. Somebody called and said their bags at the grocery store, they're now having to pay 10 cents a bag, and that freaked him out. So then we went to, somehow or another, that segued to restaurants. Oh, I know, to-go fees. Some restaurants are now charging to-go fees, $5 if you want it to go. And maybe it's because of people like me that don't tip my server when I get my to-go food. During COVID, however, I will make this statement. During COVID, I did tip the to-go people, because that's all there was to-go people, and they were suffering just like we were with a lack of work. So I did tip during that time. But I don't anymore if it's to-go, because all they're doing is their actual job of handing me my food. When you're serving somebody at their table, you're doing more than just bringing the food out. You're making sure they're happy. You're making sure their tea is full or whatever, bringing them more bread, bringing them more, I don't know, chips and salsa. That's important to me. All of
now
those
I want
things.
Some chips and salsa.
Now you're craving that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I get it. All right, let's move on. There is another piece of audio out there that is just interesting. I'm really not sure. It's Kamala Harris. She's speaking, it looks like, to a group of women, perhaps. And I have to be honest with you. Her mind is, sometimes I have moments, but Kamala just a lot of words, and yet she says nothing. It's Well, listen to this.
Well, I think culture is it is a reflection of our moment in our time, right? And present culture is the way we express how we're feeling about the moment. And we should always find times to express how we feel about the moment that is a reflection of joy, because it comes in the morning. We have to find ways to also express the way we feel about the moment in terms of just having language and a connection to how people are experiencing life. And I think about it in that way too. Well, I think
one more
culture
time.
is it is a reflection of our moment in our time, right?
Culture is a reflection of our moment and our time.
I think that killed off some brain cells of mine listening to that.
Deep thoughts with Kamala Harris.
And present culture is the way we express how we're feeling about the moment.
Present culture is how we express how we're feeling about the moment.
And we should always find times to express how we feel about the moment that is a reflection of joy, because
joy comes in the morning, baby.
It comes in the morning.
Hallelujah. Hold on, my child. Joy comes in it's a song, by the way. It's a gospel song. 615-737-9986. Kelly, are you there? Oh, hello. Welcome back. I appreciate your phone call.
I do not know what happened. I heard you answer the phone. I said, "How are you?" And boom.
Sorry.
You couldn't hear me, I guess.
It's weird.
Anyway, I'm calling about the shingle shot.
Yes, ma'am.
I am in the same position as you, except that I know the answer.
What's the answer? All right, let me tell everybody, just in case you're just tuning in, I had mentioned that I really want to get the shingle shot after what has been happening to our own Brian Wilson, who's on vacation this week. And then my doctor says, well, you already got the shot, except for it was one I completely had forgotten. I mean, I have no recollection of getting this shot, but I got the first shot. I guess there's a series of two, and I never went back for the second shot. So I've been asking, well, does that mean I'm halfway vaccinated? Does that mean I need to start all over? Does that mean I can't do anything anymore? I mean, I don't understand. So Kelly has the answer. What's the answer?
Kelly has the same situation because I got the first shot and didn't go back for the second one. And then I went and talked to my pharmacist, and he said if it's been more than 6 months, you got to start over.
So you can start over.
I got to take the two shots within a couple months of each other.
All right. Now
So
we
that's
know.
the answer, Pamela.
Well, you know
All
what?
right.
Thank you for telling me. I feel better
Yes,
now.
ma'am.
And I feel better, and I'm going to make an appointment, and I'm going to go get that shingle shot. I think. I'm going to do a little bit more research first. and then I'm going to get it. All right, 615-737-9986. Anything you want. Ask Sister Pamela, what are you freaking out about? The whole gamut today. Or if you want to respond to Kamala Harris.
We have to find ways to also express the way we feel about the moment in terms of just having language and a...
We have to learn how to express ourselves in the moment by having language. Okay, Kamala, bless her heart. Are we sure that wasn't her cocaine? It's 5:21. I'm Pamela Furr on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
An update on a missing child in Tennessee, an alleged arsonist arrested, and Britney Spears in the headlines saying, "Baby, I was hit one more time." I'll have details at 5:30. I'm Mac Morey right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Boo, yes. Boo.
That was pretty weak.
All right.
Fair enough.
We're going to do a nosy girl on that story after you do it at 5:30. We'll do a deep dive, as they say. And might I add, bless her heart, she's...
I think she's touched.
I follow her on Twitter. Or no. I follow her on Instagram.
I was going to say Twitter, that would be entertaining.
Instagram is entertaining. She... Look, I mean, I think it is well documented that she has had some psychological issues over the years, right? I would put her in a bipolar category. And I don't know what kind of medication she's on or what she has been on during that whole conservatorship. But, you know, she was, a judge granted her freedom. And since then, I've wondered if that was the right decision. Then again, if everything that she says happened to her by her father, then, you know, I mean, she's a 40-year-old woman, for crying out loud. She should have some of the freedoms to make decisions for herself. But, whew. All right, anyway, so we'll talk a little. We're going to do it. We're going to have some fun. We're going to do a deep dive into the latest incident with Britney Spears. I know this is news talk, but this is what a lot of people are actually talking about, especially in the sports world, and Mac will tell you exactly why. 615-737-9986. Let's go to Junior. Junior in Woodbury. Welcome to The Drive with Brian Wilson. Hello.
Hey, girl.
Hey, boy.
How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
All right. I listen to you all the time, every day.
Thank you.
First time caller. And love up Mark Levine. He's ready.
He is definitely ready, yes.
What I was calling about is that cocaine deal in the White House.
Yeah.
Oh, that thing they call vice president, that laughing hyena, it was her and Hunters. I just about put money on.
It was her and what?
Hunter Biden.
Oh, it's her and Hunter. You think they do coke together?
Yeah. Anything that, listen to that hyena sometimes, and you can tell she's spaced out there.
Well,
and I say that they were snorting it off of each other.
Oh my goodness! I don't want to even think about that, Junior.
Oh,
I'm gonna let you go.
Know,
I gotta let you go on that.
I know, and I'm on public TV, but that's just my thing.
I don't know what that means. Okay. Thank you, Junior. I don't know what that means. Thank you for your phone call. I appreciate it. And I do not want that visual in my head.
Something.
I mean, good Lord. 615-73. I think some folks have been drinking a little bit early on Friday. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, as they say, right? Jeff in Lebanon, hello.
Hey, Pam, how are you?
I'm a little disturbed by that last phone call.
I couldn't quite catch everything he was saying. But,
I won't repeat it.
Okay. I just wanted to chip in just a little bit on these takeout cost extra fees for restaurants.
Sure.
Part of that is during, of course, when COVID happened, most things became takeout, and all those supplies became very, very pricey for, the to-go items. Mm-hmm. But say a restaurant, for example, buys a plate for $3. At some point, mathematically, if you use that same plate, let's just say 10 times, that plate's paid for, so it's now free. But if you're taking to-go orders, you're continually buying the paper product containers and so on and so forth.
Sure.
And it's actually a direct cost to the bottom line. And I believe that's why that you're seeing the charge for to-go
because they're not adding. Your food isn't any more expensive when you buy it to go at all. But my question, I mean, how much does a styrofoam
You'd be surprised.
box?
I mean, I'm in an industry that we do everything possible not to use styrofoam and so on and so forth. Because we spend millions on styrofoam. We try to avoid it at all costs, but sometimes it's not possible.
All right. Well,
Just wanted to shed a little light on that, Pamela.
All right. Thank you very much for your phone call. I'm trying to Google, let's see, to-go containers, restaurants in bulk. How's that? Takeout containers and to-go boxes in bulk and wholesale. I'm trying to see what they would cost. And, of course, now it's complicated. I mean, let's say for a to-go plastic, not styrofoam, but plastic kind of thing. I mean, you're talking, I'm looking at these containers for a case. It's like $46.50 for a case of these. These are plastic things, and there's 300 in a case. So break that down. So 300. See, I appreciate your phone call, but I'm not buying that it's all that expensive. Or maybe they're just not buying it from webstrontstore.com. That's where I'm looking. All right, it is 5:30. I'm Pamela Furr on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:31. I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. 92 degrees right now in Nashville. Some possible thunderstorms over the weekend, but tonight should stay dry. Complete weather forecast, latest traffic report coming up 5 minutes. A 10-year-old who was missing for over 24 hours has now been found safe. Here's Channel 4's Brendan Tierney.
Metro police say Kyle Crimmins Jr. was found just about an hour ago in a creek bed behind his home. It's just down the road from us here. You can see Metro police still blocking off the area. That's where police actually say he ran away from the home around 11 yesterday morning after a fight with his parents. He first went into the woods behind the house, but police couldn't find him there, so they believe that he might have gone over to Cedar Hill Park or other nearby dense woods because he was nowhere to be found. Today, the search expanded to that park with horses, helicopters, and dogs trying to find the 10-year-old just for them to come back and find him about where they started.
The TBI said that this was always treated as a runaway case. Right now in Tennessee, News 2 reports that a Pulaski man is believed to be responsible for setting an apartment complex on fire. The fire happened on June 17th. Officials have been investigating how the flames began. 26-year-old Kavaris Dewan Bowman was arrested and charged yesterday and is now being held at the Giles County Jail on a $10,000 bond. And over in Las Vegas, police have closed their investigation into Britney Spears' claim that she was the victim of battery after getting slapped in the face by an NBA star's security team at a restaurant this week. Alex Stone brings new details.
In a Las Vegas police report obtained by ABC News, detectives say not only did they determine that no force or violence was used against Britney Spears, but it was Spears' own hand that hit herself in the face when she touched NBA star Victor Wembanyama. He pushed her hand away, and that led her hand to hit her own face. She says she ran up to him as a fan to say hello. He says he had no idea it was Britney Spears, and he felt somebody grab him from behind. His security reacted, but police say it was actually her own hand that hit her. The case is closed with no charges.
And that is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
All right, it is 5:37. The weekend is here. It's Friday. I'm Pamela Furr in for Brian Wilson on The Drive on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and I feel it. I feel it. It's coming. It is time for Nosy Girl. Oh, yes. Nosy Girl wants to talk a little Britney, y'all.
Uh-oh.
Is Mac in there?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I wouldn't miss this.
You wouldn't miss this for the world. All right. So the rumor is Britney got slapped in the face, right? Slapped in. Right? Poor Britney. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, poor Britney. That's right.
I just want to wait till this line. Here we go. Hit me, baby, one more time.
That's
all
what she was talking about.
That's what she was talking about. So, all right. So the original story, and I don't have my notes in front of me. I'm not going to lie. And there are probably people in their car rolling their eyes going, seriously, on News Talk Radio, you're talking Britney Spears here. But the story is just kind of interesting because it involves this basketball player that Mac Morey tells me is like the next sensation. Like he's the guy, right? He plays for is it the Spurs he plays for?
He just got drafted number 1 overall by the San Antonio Spurs, yes,
all right.
Out of France.
And he's like 20 feet tall? How tall is he?
Yeah, pretty much.
7 feet 5, and he can run as fast as a guard. He can shoot like a guard, but he can obviously play like a center with his size. He's really special, yes.
All right, so, I mean, that's an amazing thing. And what is his name?
Victor Wembanyama.
Victor Wembanyama.
Yes.
And so I'm going to try to remember that name, and I'm going to try to watch him play.
He's really cool.
I'm not a big NBA person. The only time I ever watched the NBA when it was Michael Jordan. I'm just going to be honest with you. And then after that, that's not my thing. College basketball is more my thing. But that doesn't mean I can't recognize talent. And so obviously he's kind of in sensation right now. So apparently, where were they? Vegas? Where were they?
Vegas, yeah.
All right.
Yes.
They were in Vegas, and Britney saw him somewhere. I don't know if it was outside of a restaurant, outside of a mall.
Yeah, I think it was outside a restaurant.
All right. And so Britney Spears, with her little entourage, sees him. So she runs up to him going, hey, sir, because she wants to say hello, because apparently she's a big fan now, I suppose.
Who knew?
And so she goes up and grabs him from behind. And when, I don't know about y'all, but when I hear somebody say she grabbed me from behind, I'm thinking a little butt cheek. That's what I think. But that's not what happened. No. I mean, I think she was tapping him on the shoulder or on the back.
And she probably couldn't reach his shoulder.
I was about to say, it would be his butt cheek, to be fair, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it probably would be close. Yes, his butt cheek probably is like at the tip of her head.
Really?
Yeah, you're probably right. But seriously, I mean, she taps him on the back, hello, sir. Well, the security guard from the video I saw, it looked like the security guard just kind of backhanded her a little, not looking at her to see and slapping her, but more of a stop short thing that, on Seinfeld, just got the hand out to keep her away
just
from.
To try to, like back off.
Yeah. And it like bonked her in the head. Well, then we just heard that news story that it was her own hand that hit her in the head.
And if I'm reading this TMZ article as you're going through it, Pamela. Apparently, she was screaming at him, sir, in a British accent. So it was, sir.
Whatever. Lord.
I don't know why
she's a little nutty. That's why.
I don't know why.
All of a sudden, she breaks out into British accents. I don't get it. She also breaks out in no clothes sometimes on Instagram.
Hello.
And everybody, I just feel it now. Everybody decided to go start following Britney on Instagram.
She also claimed that, I didn't know this until reading this, but yeah, I didn't know. She claimed when it happened that she got backhanded and fell to the ground. And you've seen the video, Pam.
She didn't
wait a
fall.
minute. No. Her glasses fell off, apparently, but no, she didn't.
You could see like she was touching her, like, ow,
like what the heck happened?
But see, here's the part that gets me. She knows she is was whatever, a star.
Mega.
She knows what it's like for people to be pulling at you and grabbing at you. So she should have known better. And if she wanted to say hello, she could have had her security guy go up to that security guy and say, hey, Britney Spears is here and she would like to say hello.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure she's not that much of a has-been for the security guard not to know who she was.
Yeah, I'm sure he would know who Britney Spears is.
She's international star even today.
Yeah.
Also, she was a child star, right? I mean, she was, 16 or 17?
She's on MOUSA or how do you spell it? MOUSE, Mickey Mouse. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Mickey Mouse.
When she was really young. Yeah.
So, yeah, she was a child
Christine Aguilera.
Yes.
And Justin Timberlake.
That's right.
I forgot about JT. Well, yeah, I mean, that's even more to your point, Pamela. I mean, Wembanyama's 18. This is his first time in the United States as this new kind of up-and-coming mega star in the sports world. So, I mean, yeah.
Her career happened before he was around, so he's 18.
Yeah, that's true.
But the security guard would have known. And again, having one security guard speak to. So she kind of brought this on herself, and then now she's exaggerating. Oh, no, I'm a victim. I wonder if she called the police in a British accent, which I can't do.
Well, sir.
Excuse me, is this the police? I can't do it. I've been assaulted. How would you say that in a British accent? I've been assaulted, sir.
I've been scallywagged. I don't know what they say, but
is she a pirate?
Yeah.
All right. So that's enough. That's the latest. Apparently she hit herself in the face. And I think it was a ricochet. I think the security guard, because his hand did go out.
Yeah.
So hit her hand, and then her hand hit herself in the face. And then, the rest is TMZ fodder or nosy girl. And that's it for Nosy Girl on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you guys for filling me in on this. I'm going to watch this guy play basketball now, though.
Seriously, I mean, this is the
San Antonio Spurs. Who owns that? That's not Mark Cuban.
No, he's the Mavericks.
He's the Mavericks. Yeah. That's right. All right. Well,
biggest prospect since LeBron. That's the best way to say it.
Wow. All right. Well, that's a big deal.
And he went on record as, by the way, just saying that he had no clue what was even going on. He never even saw it because he never even turned around.
He never even turned around because this is what he was saying in the interview that we read or we watched before the show. He said that he was told, because so many people are wanting to talk to him or whatever, just keep walking because if you stop, a crowd will start to gather and then they'll never get to the restaurant. So the security told him, just keep walking, just keep walking. So yeah, even though he said, I felt something on my back, he said, but I didn't turn around.
I just kept walking.
Just did exactly what security told him to do. Just keep walking. Even with, sir.
He's probably like, where am I?
Yeah.
I was in Vegas.
All right, 615-737-9986. It is Freak Out Friday. This is Sandy on the line. Hi, Sandy. Welcome to the show.
Hey, girl.
Hey.
I just wanted to vent about children. When I was a little girl, eons ago, my mom used to tell me I didn't have any rights.
Not while you were living under her roof.
That's exactly correct.
Yep.
And I was always taught that if I had a car wreck or injured somebody, that she would be responsible for me, as I was a child.
Right.
But now it seems like schools are sanctuary cities, and I think most parents ought to take their kids, especially if they're of this day and age, and take them off their insurance. They have all these rights. Let them go sign up for Medicaid or. I think if they had to go through some of the adult things that they're wanting to change their sex or take pills that they really don't know how it's going to turn out 10, 12, 20 years from now, I just think the parents should be responsible.
Well, here's what. So, Sandy, thank you very much for your call. I appreciate it. Here's the thing about kids, which is so unfortunate as they grow up and they leave the house. We're raising what seems to be an entitled mentality, an entitled group of kids who are becoming adults and think that things should be handed to them, that they don't have to work for it, that they don't have to fight for it, that they don't have to. That's the part that bothers me. That's why I am so impressed. All right, I am going to point out that you're young, Mac, but that's why I'm so impressed with Mac, because he's out there getting it. He's out there working. He's out there doing what he needs to do to pay his bills and, take care of his girlfriend and, whatever. But he's doing it on his own. Not once that I'm aware of has Mac ever wanted a handout. He wants to work for it. And fewer young people today have that kind of mentality. And that is troublesome, because it's those young people who are going to decide what happens to me when I'm 75, 80, 85 years old. So trust me, I'm very, as you should be too, very, very concerned. All right, it is 5:48, I do believe. This is Freak Out Friday, so the phone lines are wide open. The topic is yours. It's topic du jour, as they say. 615-737-9986. You can call that line, or you can send us a super text. It's up to you. Whatever is freaking you out on this Friday, you are more than welcome to call. Dollar Store Reba wants to hear from you. We'll be back in a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey everybody, I'm Paul Winkler. The financial world can be full of landmines for investors. On the one hand, investment firms and the financial community will often overcomplicate the financial planning process to confuse investors. As one guy who used to work a big investment firm once told me, if an investor thinks that they're over their head, they'll blindly trust you. And it's easier to sell to them. I'm glad I'm away from that. On the other hand, many people oversimplify investing to the detriment of investors. Just having a little knowledge can be really dangerous. The idea there is the same. It's just a different way of selling things. At Paul Winkler Inc., we like working alongside our clients with an education guidance approach. I believe that there's confidence that comes with knowing what you're doing and why. We abide by the very highest level of fiduciary care, and we use the most sophisticated financial planning tools out there. And every one of our offices is run by a degreed planner with over 20 years experience. No kids fresh out of college. If that sounds like a winning formula, set up a free 15-minute phone call to learn more. Go to paulwinkler.com or call 615-851-1950. You can do this.
A 10-year-old in Tennessee now back at home safely. A man threatening to blow up a Tennessee school. President Biden announcing some health care changes and a fatal crash in Tennessee. I'll have details at 6. I'm Mac Morey here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you very much, Mac Morey. It is 5:53 on this Friday on the Drive with Brian Wilson. 615-737-9986. This is also Freak Out Friday. So whatever you're freaking out about, I want to hear from you. The phone lines are open. We go to Bob right now. Bob and Dixon. Hello, Bob.
Hello, girl. I love listening to you on the radio.
Well, thank you, Bob. I love that you listen.
Hey, I got a little thing about that to-go stuff and the tip situation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, the girls that are doing the to-go boxes and takeout orders, they're also waiting on tables.
True.
So when they're not waiting on tables, they are closing up all the boxes. The chef, the cooks, they don't put tops on none of that stuff. They do all the
So they're still doing all the work. They're just not. They just don't keep coming back to the table because it's to go.
Right. So and the price about the restaurant starting to charge to go prices. Waffle House has had a 10% surcharge on all to go items forever, and they've only just now started enforcing it. But how much does it cost for soap and elbow grease? Those girls still all got to do the dishes and it uses.
You're right, and clean up the restaurant before it closes, all that kind of stuff. No, you're right. I've been tip shamed. You're right. You're right. It's
what
true.
I'm getting at is the price of all those containers.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's restaurant grade. That's not,
Well, that's what I was looking at. I was looking at a website that sold to restaurants all the plasticware and all the to-go boxes and all that kind of stuff. So it's not as expensive as one caller made it out to be. So, but Bob, I appreciate your call. I will take into consideration what you have to say about tipping those girls or guys who bring me my food when I do a to-go order. I will say, thank you, Bob. Have a good weekend. I will say I haven't had a to-go order in a while. Awaken 180. Been doing pretty good on that, so I don't eat out as much as I used to because I'm not strong enough to say no to the pie that they have blackberry pie. Oh my gosh, or apple pie, or chocolate pie. Okay, just
pie.
Yeah. Anyway, so I kind of stay away from it because I am not super strong. I am an addict. I've talked about that before. I am a food addict. Like Hunter and his cocaine, I am that way with sugar. 100%. So I have to treat it as an addiction and stay away from it if I can. But girls got to eat. So you're around it more so than you'd like to be. Yeah. So it's a little bit more difficult to say no sometimes if you have an addiction problem. All right, anyway, enough of that. More to come after 6. We have Mark Cunningham with the Beacon Center coming up. He's going to talk about a new poll that's been released that is very, very interesting. You might not be so surprised about the numbers of Donald Trump and how far he's leading Ron DeSantis around the country, but you should see the big divide here in Tennessee. Same goes for Joe Biden here in the state of Tennessee, and there's a whole lot more. So stick around. I'm Pamela Furr on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
6 o'clock, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. 90 degrees, a dry night with storms expected over the weekend. Forecast and the latest traffic report coming up. A 10-year-old who was missing for over 24 hours has now been found safe. Here's Channel 4's Brendan Tierney.
Metro police say Kyle Crimmins Jr. was found just about an hour ago in a creek bed behind his home. It's just down the road from us here. You can see Metro police still blocking off the area. That's where police actually say he ran away from the home around 11 yesterday morning after a fight with his parents. He first went into the woods behind the house, but police couldn't find him there. So they believe that he might have gone over to Cedar Hill Park or other nearby dense woods because he was nowhere to be found. Today, the search expanded to that park with horses, helicopters, and dogs trying to find the 10-year-old just for them to come back and find him about where they started.
The TBI said this was always treated as a runaway case. Staying in Tennessee, a man threatens to blow up Belmont United Methodist Church. Channel 4 says that the church school evacuated out of precaution. People at the building saw him run inside. Officials were then called and found him on the third floor where he surrendered. That man was unarmed. And over to the nation's capital, President Biden announced long-awaited actions to lower healthcare costs. In this case, he's targeting short-term insurance plans that lack comprehensive coverage. Im Nguyen has more.
In his latest move to lower healthcare costs and crack down on junk fees, President Biden slammed short-term health plans.
That's not health insurance. That's a scam.
Biden proposed a rule to limit the duration of these plans to 3 months, which would curtail former President Trump's plans, which extended the policy's durations. Biden's new rollout is part of a series of initiatives aimed at lowering healthcare costs. And in the weeks to follow, the president and his cabinet members will travel the nation to talk about other ways the administration is trying to save everyday Americans money, a move that could impact 2024 voters.
And right now in Murfreesboro, News 2 reports that a driver of a small pickup truck died this morning after crashing into a propane truck. Officials say that the pickup was going southeast on Broad Street before going into another lane and hitting a Freightliner truck that was carrying around 2,000 gallons of propane. That pickup driver was trapped inside of the vehicle due to the crash, and the man later died at a hospital. And that is the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Good afternoon. It is 5 minutes after 6 o'clock. I'm Pamela Furr in for Brian Wilson, who is on vacation, but he will return on Monday. So glad that it's Friday. It's just been a kind of a lighter day today. I love that. Oh, and it is also Freak Out Friday. That's right. Whatever you're freaking out about, you can call us at 615-737-9986. That's 615-737-9986. You can also super text us as well. Now, I think perhaps maybe Ron DeSantis might be freaking out just a little bit after a poll has been released, a Beacon poll. We have with us on the line right now Mark Cunningham from the Beacon Center. Hello, Mark. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing, Pamela?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm glad it's Friday. Hallelujah.
Yep, me too.
All right, you guys just did a huge poll. You asked the voters in Tennessee quite a few questions here, but the big one, I don't know if it's a surprise to anybody or not. I think maybe the huge lead that Donald Trump has over Ron DeSantis in the state of Tennessee may be a little surprising, but Tennessee is strongly Donald Trump. 100%, I think.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Trump has a 49-point lead, which is pretty substantial because, it felt like going into the primary before DeSantis announced it was kind of going to be about a 50-50 coin toss. But what was really interesting was how many people loved Trump on the Republican side, while at the same time saying, I'm going to vote for him. But there's a number of Republicans that were shocking to me that thought he should also be indicted, but still plan to vote for him. So that was really the interesting takeaway on the Republican side.
Interesting. Well, and the other side of this, too, is no matter if it's Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis in the state of Tennessee running against Joe Biden, both would win in Tennessee.
That's right. Both would win, but there was some real indications that the Republican Party might be scared of. It turns out that if you put Trump versus Biden, they said 4% of Republicans would not vote at all in the election. If you put DeSantis versus Biden, that goes up to 13%. So there is a number of Trump-only voters. I mean, you've heard of the kind of never Trump voters, but there's actually the only Trump voters, it seems like. So, of course, the difference between 21 and 16 in Tennessee is not a huge deal. But if that's a trend nationwide, that's got to have some of the top Republicans nervous if Trump is not the nominee.
Yeah, but if you're talking about right now, if the primaries happened and the RNC happened today, Donald Trump would be the nominee. Ron DeSantis isn't even close in any of the Republican states.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, with the exception of there's an interesting poll from Wisconsin that actually showed DeSantis ahead in the primary poll, which of course is a swing state there.
Sure.
But yes, I mean it's very likely that Trump's the nominee. It would be really surprising and probably something that would have to have been legally for him not to be the nominee.
Right.
But of course, the Republicans want to make sure that after everything goes, that they're copacetic like they were in 2016 after it was a really bruising primary.
Yeah. Now you told me today that Ron DeSantis he is very aware of your poll.
He is. That's right. He was on Fox News last night, and they asked him specifically about the Beacon poll to kind of talk about, how polling has showed him really falling lately. And obviously he's coming to Tennessee next week, so I'm sure he'll be asked about it again. I'm not sure he wants to talk about it, but I'm sure he'll be asked.
Yeah, because he's speaking to a room full of Republicans at the Statesman's Dinner on Saturday. Not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow. So you're right. Probably quite a few people will be asking about this poll and the state of Tennessee. I mean, are you planning on doing a poll after the Statesman's Dinner to see if Tennessee, their favorability on Ron DeSantis goes up any, or are you going to wait on that?
Well, yeah, so we're doing a quarterly poll now. So, I mean, this is, to be honest, is a very expensive project. It was it was really good, and it was really needed because there's not a good poll in the state of Tennessee. And I will, as much as I don't want to trash another, the Vanderbilt poll has been consistently bad.
Yeah, that's
and it's
true.
twice a year. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they've been off double digits for 3 straight elections, and all in the favor of Democrats.
Right.
So honestly, we did because it was a necessary thing that Tennessee needs. And we were, our first poll could not have gone any better. We have a great pollster, and it is exactly in line with what Tennesseans kind of voted on last time. So it's a really good poll, and 1,100 people is a good sample size. So our next poll will be sometime in October.
Gotcha. All right, what's some other things that came out of your polling? Because it wasn't just about the presidential race. I think you were looking at how the Bud Light situation here in this state, about the expulsion of 2 House members. Tell me about some of the other results that might be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So we kind of asked people if they actually boycotted Bud Light, because we've heard a lot about it, and you saw some of the market share. But what made the question great is that you actually had to answer that you've drank Bud Light before in order to answer the question whether you boycotted. A lot of people say they boycott, but didn't. But I think it's a really scary number for Anheuser-Busch because 22% of people who did drink Bud Light have stopped drinking altogether, and that's pretty consistent with the losses they've seen nationwide, about 25%. So that's a real problem. And of course, 36% of them of the Republicans, which is a really high number, have decided to boycott that product.
Sure. What about Justin Jones and Justin Pearson and their expulsion? What did Tennesseans think about that?
It was an interesting topic, and what I kind of said from this poll is there's something for everyone. If you're a Republican, there's some really good things for you. If there's a Democrat, there's some good things for you, and this is probably one of them. In a state that Trump won by 21 points, the views on the expulsion were exactly down the middle. It was 39% agreed with it, 39% disagree with it, and there's close to 20% that were neither kind of unsure on it.
Yeah.
So that's a number that does not bode well, for Republicans for doing that. And I think that the Republican leadership would say, well, look, Republicans approve of it by a huge percentage. I think it was 61-15. But when you look at independents, I think it's 20 points underwater for them. And, in these close races in legislative districts, that could be a difference.
Yeah, it really can. And, there are a lot of Republicans, I think, that believe the leadership in the House botched that whole situation. So that might be why you see this poll looking the way that it is. Interesting stuff. Can people go find all of your information online?
They can. We just started a new site. It's beaconpoll.com. Very easy to see. We have some excellent, easy to navigate graphics, some fun things that you can play with to kind of put different, demographics in to see how they voted. And, we're really excited about it. Beaconpoll.com.
Perfect. Thank you, Mark Cunningham, for being with me today. And have a great weekend.
You too, Pamela. Thanks so much.
Bye. All right. That is Mark Cunningham. That's interesting to me. It's interesting to me, the 39%, when you're talking about Justin Jones and Justin Pearson. Half of those polled thought it was a good thing. Half of those polled, 39%. 39% of those polled thought it was a good thing. 39% thought it was a bad thing. I don't think that bodes well for leadership here in the state of Tennessee. I just don't. And I think I could have told you this. I honestly think I could have told you this because of the way it was handled. Do I think that expulsion was justified? Yes, but not in the way that it was. Not in the way that they did it, because it did no good. Justin Jones is running for that seat again. He won his primary. He's going to run for in the general election. He's probably going to win. So what good did expulsion do? It did nothing. So it was a waste of time, waste of money, and all they got what? Well, I don't have to go over this again. We know. We've talked about it a gazillion times. All they got was the publicity. So their profile went up across the nation because of what happened, which is truly what they both wanted. Not they wanted to fight for you, the people of Tennessee, or their constituents. No. They wanted the high profile that they got. And the visits to Good Morning America and the visits to the White House and whatnot. So that's an interesting poll right there. Do you approve or disapprove of banning TikTok in the state of Tennessee? The overwhelming response was yes. 56% of people polled in the state of Tennessee believe that it should be banned here. Can you believe that? What about your approval? Do you approve or disapprove of the decision to indict Trump? This is interesting. 43% agreed with the indictment, 44% disagreed. So it's right down the middle there. And then 11% of the people polled were kind of neutral on that. Isn't that's fascinating to me? And let's see, what else do you support the expansion of these existing Tennessee programs to all counties? Education savings accounts or charter schools? 69% said they do approve of the ESAs. 64% said they do approve of charter schools. So there's the information there. The big one, though, obviously, is how well Donald Trump is doing in the state of Tennessee. Ron DeSantis is not doing well here. But Ron DeSantis so far isn't doing well anywhere. And I know I said this months ago. I don't know if you were able to hear me say this on WTN, but I just felt like Ron DeSantis running for president now was too soon. In my opinion, if he would have just stayed as governor in the state of Florida for another term, just worked out his term and worry about running in 2028, because with Donald Trump running, he is overshadowed, I guess is a good word. And then when the indictments came down, holy smokes, those who were kind of on the fence said the government can't do this to Donald Trump. And so they became Donald Trump fans again. Polling just shot straight up for Donald Trump once again. So I like Ron DeSantis. There's a part of me that wants to vote for Ron DeSantis. I could very easily vote for Ron DeSantis, but I'm not sure Ron DeSantis is going to be able to win. We'll see. Things could change before our Super Tuesday. Things could change between now and then very, very easily. But it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be an uphill climb for him and the others. And here's the other thing that's happening. I don't know if you've noticed some of this in the polling. Ron DeSantis, his numbers aren't exactly skyrocketing, but the others that were below him, their numbers keep going up. In particular, how do you say his name? Vivek Ramaswamy. I think I've got it right. Vivek Ramaswamy. His numbers continue to go up, and I have to be honest with you, I really like him. I hope he gets some sort of cabinet position or something, or runs for Senate after all of this, because he's not gonna win, guy. He's not gonna win the primary. But I love that this has gotten him a lot of press, so we can learn more about him. But he doesn't stand a snowball's chance. Maybe Donald Trump will put him as his running mate. Maybe he's running for VP. I don't have a problem with that. In fact, if he did that, I might just inch on back on over to Donald Trump again. I don't know where I am. Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump both look good for me, but I think Ron DeSantis probably should have held off. Quite frankly, we'll see. And I am willing to eat my words come Election Day. 6:18, I am Pamela Furr in for Brian Wilson on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Mac. It is 6:21. I am Pamela Furr in for Brian Wilson, who will return to us on Monday. Well rested, we hope. Hopefully the shingles mostly will be gone.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious about that.
Closing in on like 2 months, I think, since it began.
That's not any fun whatsoever. I know that... What can you say? What can you say? Have you guys seen this movie that's out? It's a faith-based film, and I am a big fan of Angel Studios. Angel Studios, that's who produced and is still producing the series called The Chosen. Chris, are you familiar with The Chosen?
I think I've heard of it, but I haven't seen that.
I didn't know if I had maybe even told you about it. So if you're into Jesus, if you're into the story of the disciples, it's about the story of the disciples. And although, some of it is fictional because you obviously, unless you've got it in the Bible, you really don't know what the conversations were between the disciples or between the disciples, those who were married, those who were not. Mary Magdalene in there. You throw some other females in there. You don't know what the conversations were. You just know what we have. So I love just kind of the idea. It seemed very true to Scripture, most of it, but it's a series. It's not just a movie. It's a series called The Chosen. And there's this dude that plays Jesus that I think is fantastic. Well, it's produced by the Angel Studios, and they have this model where it is crowdfunded, and it is very well produced. Most people will know that in the Christian world will know, and in the church world will know what I say, what my next words are true. Most Christian movies are pretty dang cheesy. I'm sorry, it is. Most of it is just not well written. They don't have a lot of money. The best movies that have ever been produced really in the Christian world, if you will, were Billy Graham films. Those were always well produced, and they were okay. They were okay. Other than that, I can't think. There's a series. Should I say it out loud? I don't know if I would say it out loud. Left Behind series with Kirk Cameron. That was kind of cheesy, a little bit cheesy. And others. I can go on and on. So, and you guys know I'm right. You church folks that I go to church with all the time, you know I'm right. Well, Angel Studio is changing that. And I love that. And again, it's crowdsourced. And so they talk about paying it forward. People paying for, $100 will allow X amount of people to watch, this series. So go see The Chosen if you get a chance. It's on Netflix. You can download the Angel Studio app, and you can see they have 3 seasons so far. They're producing the 4th season now. Hopefully that will be out soon. Okay, I said all that to say there is a new movie out that has actually knocked out Indiana Jones at the box office. And it is a faith-based film called Sound of Freedom. And it stars Jim Caviezel. And I think the last time he was in a faith-based film, it was,
Passion of the Christ.
Passion of the Christ. Thank you. I could see his face, and I couldn't think of the name. Passion of the Christ, which, that is one of the best-selling movies of all time. It's not an Avatar, but it's up there. And the money that has made, holy smokes. This one is called Sound of Freedom. And it's about, starring Passion of the Christ, conservatives, Oscar. Oh, and it also stars Mira Sorvino. I did not know that. They went toe-to-toe with the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny film and beat it. While Deadline initially declared Indy the winner out of July 4th films, the revised estimates reportedly put Sound of Freedom ahead of Harrison Ford's Adventure with one-day gross of about $14 million. Then the Indiana Jones movie made $11.7 million. Isn't that interesting? Oh. Angel Studios certainly claiming the crown, labeling Sound of Freedom as America's #1 movie on its official website, and I think they're right. This, I believe, is about human trafficking. I'm told that it is very hard to watch in some cases. It's about the life of Tim Ballard, who's a former special agent with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. In 2013, he founded Operation Underground Railroad, which is an organization that works to prevent sex trafficking of children. He said, I was working on a couple of cases that fell outside the jurisdiction of the U.S., and I had to quit my job so I could finish those cases. That's the real Ballard. So it's about him. In the film, Caviezel plays Ballard at the tail end of his DHS career, worn down by a series of soul-draining trafficking cases involving migrant children. When he spearheads this operation at the Mexican border, he's able to free one child, but not the boy's sister. Whew. So anyway, so it's that story. The sister is still in jeopardy in Colombia with the approval of his wife. Ballard travels to South America as an independent agent and goes deep undercover to find the missing girl. I bet that sounds pretty deep. It sounds, and I'm told that it's hard to watch, but it's truthful. And that, I think, is important. It's very truthful. So what they're doing is it's a new model. So they're allowing people to, quote, pay it forward. So if you want to go see the film, you buy a ticket, you loved it, they have a space on the Angels Studio website that you could donate $50 and you can apply for a free ticket. So you go to the website and you can click free ticket and get one. Excuse me. Because someone has paid for your ticket. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
I'm choking over here.
And I'm assuming that then that money will then in turn go towards producing the next movie.
Or producing something. I think that's a great model. That's an interesting model there. For instance, like if I wanted, oh my God, Chris, you and your wife have got to go see this movie. Well, I don't know. I've already paid for your ticket. You just have to go because this is fantastic. You'll be moved. Yeah. I like the idea of being able to do that. That's a cool model. I think it's a patent pending kind of model thing to do. But there you go. It is called Sounds of Freedom, and it's Jim Caviezel, and I love him so very much. He's such a great actor. And I bet this is just a fantastic role for him by all reviews and all accounts that I'm seeing. Angel Studio, again, is where you can find more information about what they do in their faith-based programming. Lots of films, and I think they're even working on another series. But I love The Chosen. That one is a good one. It is 6:30. I'm Pamela Furr on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Pamela Furr. Thank you for being with me today. 6:35. It's Freak Out Friday. What are you freaking out about today as we head into the weekend? 615-737-9986 is the phone number. Those phone lines are open, and I don't care what it is. We had somebody earlier who thought they saw an alien and wanted to talk about it. And we let them do that. We let them vent. So whatever it is, you are more than welcome to call and tell us what you're freaking out about. Here's a story that I think I'm not freaking out about it, but I'm very angry about it. This kind of thing, it just, when you're in the military, and I know there are a lot of members of the military, those who have served this country well, those who have served as first responders in the uniform. But I've always said, if you're a piece of crap before you put on the uniform, you're a piece of crap with the uniform on. And sometimes there are some bad apples out there. Here's this story. Check this out. He's a former Army major, and he's been indicted for defrauding Gold Star families out of more than $3.4 million by swaying them to invest in private accounts that he got $1.4 million in commission from. His name is Kaz Craffey. He's been accused of using his position as an Army financial counselor to target families of fallen soldiers. This just makes me so mad. He was indicted, or at least the indictment was filed by the New Jersey District Attorney's Office earlier today. He's been charged, Craffey. I mean, they ought to put a T in his name, Crafty. He's been charged with 10 counts relating to wire and security fraud. This includes 6 counts of wire fraud, 1 count each of securities fraud, making false statements in a loan application, committing acts furthering a personal financial interest, and making false statements to a federal agency. He had been employed as a financial counselor for the Army until the beginning of this year when the allegations about his behavior came to light. One of these families was that of Sharon Hartz, who lost her son, Sergeant Thomas, and I can't pronounce the last name, but he died in the line of duty in January of 2019, according to court papers. Craffey was responsible for providing general financial education to the surviving beneficiaries of fallen soldiers. He had been prohibited from offering any personal opinions regarding the survivors or the surviving beneficiaries' benefit decisions. However, without telling the Army, Craffey simultaneously maintained outside employment with 2 separate financial investing firms. Court papers say that Craffey used his position as an Army financial counselor to identify and target Gold Star families and other military families. In total, prosecutors say he obtained more than $9.9 million from Gold Star families to invest in his private capacity. He's alleged to have repeatedly executed trades, often without the family's authorization, earning him high commissions. Oh, that just ticks me off. 615-737-9986 on Freak Out Friday. Let's go to Charles in Hendersonville. Hello, Charles.
Hey, Pamela.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm not freaking out over anything. I'm just wanted to let you know me and the wife just left J Street Korean Grill here in Hendersonville.
Nice.
And it is. Trust me, it's nice. And what I wanted to know is, when are you guys supposed to be out there broadcasting?
It is July 26th, which is that a Wednesday? I think that's a Wednesday.
Yep.
And it starts at 6 o'clock when we're all going to be out there. Although I think, Chris, please correct me if I'm wrong, Brian's going to broadcast his whole show from there.
I do believe that is correct,
Yeah,
yes.
so he'll be out there from 3 until 6, and then all of us will be out there at 6.
How do you get tickets?
997WTN.com.
Gotcha. Appreciate it.
You going to join us?
I'd like to.
Well, we'd love to see you there.
It's on a work night.
Well, tell me how the food is. I want to know how the food is. I'm trying to figure out if this is Awaken 180 compatible, and I think it is.
It is superior dining. You can cook your own food if you want to.
Really? Well, I don't want to go to a restaurant and cook my own food.
or you can have the server do it. It's your choice.
So are they cooking at your table?
That's correct.
No kidding. Okay, that's kind of cool.
There's the grill. The grill is a table in and of itself.
Interesting.
Very much so. I highly recommend it.
All right. So it is J Street Korean Grill and Bar in Hendersonville. It's July 26th at 6 o'clock. Charles, I hope we see you there.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks. Have a good evening, Charles. And tell your wife hello. Let's go to Larry, who's on the line. Larry, welcome to Freak Out Friday on WTN.
Well, thanks, Pam.
You're welcome.
I am freaking out about this story you just told about this guy that's taking advantage of these families that have lost people.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I really got to watch my mouth, Pamela.
Yeah, we don't want you to cuss.
No, well, listen, there will be a special place in a certain place for that lovely POS. Can I say that?
Yes, you can.
All right, sister. Love you. You have a great day and a great weekend.
All right. You do the same, Larry. I appreciate it. Yes, you can say POS. I think
point of sale. That's what it's short for, right?
Yes, it means point of sale.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm with you. I that kind of thing bothers me because you're targeting families who have been going through some serious pain, and they lost their loved one in the line of duty. And to take advantage of that and the benefits that they receive after that death is just beyond me. That's low to me. That is so low. And another one that ticks me off, maybe this should be ticked off and I need to do it like a ticked off Tuesday. I need
thought, yeah.
But anyway, you know what else ticks me off? This used to really burn me up. Do you know what stolen valor is? So you'd have people claiming to be members of the military, and they never were. Now, look, I get it that some loser guys will go to a bar and try to impress a chick. And so he'll say things, oh, yeah, I served in the war. Just trying to get, it's after 6 o'clock. Can I just be trying to get laid? I mean, that's what he's trying to do. So he's going to make up crap just to impress her so he can bed her and then never see her again. Right? I mean, hello. I can point to the bars right now where that kind of stuff's happening, just within 100 yards of here where that's happening. You know I'm right, Chris.
I have no idea. I don't frequent those establishments.
No. All right. Then you have so there's that. Then you have those who claim to be members of the military and benefit from it. Like they'll go and do speeches. They'll show up at parades. They'll even go as far as buy medals off eBay or find a uniform off of eBay or whatever and actually dress the part. And they have never been a member of our armed services. Then you have those who take it even a further step, who will not only show up in uniform with these medals and what have you, and the stripes on their arms, and they'll actually file for benefits with the military. Now you're getting into some serious situations where the government will come after you and charge you with stolen valor, which I 100% support. What bothers me is that I think some of this ends up being misdemeanors, but I think it should be a federal offense to steal someone's identity, or at least fake an identity, saying you are a member of the military or that you served honorably in the armed forces here in this country. If it's a lie, there's nothing honorable about it. If it's a lie and you manipulate people, there's nothing honorable about it. And then when you start going down that road of, oh, yeah, I fought in Afghanistan, I want to punch them in the face. It really ticks me off. Oh, yeah, I fought in Iraq and I saw this, this, and this, and it's all lies. That really makes me angry. Doesn't freak me out, makes me mad. Makes me redheaded mad. Dollar Store Reba doesn't like it at all. Anyway, so there you go. So that's what really ticks me off today. As we continue on, let's see, we've got some comments. Let's see. Don't stop praying for, don't stop praying for the people who are being child trafficked. Yeah, that's the truth. We were talking earlier about the movie that is out right now, Sound of Freedom, and Jim Caviezel's in it, and it's about child trafficking. And I agree with you. Do not stop praying for those people. I didn't see any of that when I was at the border, but I did see Border Patrol. They had pulled over a van, and you saw faces in there. I couldn't tell if they were children. I mean, they looked young, but I wouldn't say like 13-year-olds. They looked like young women. And our Border Patrol guy actually said that is no doubt a human smuggling ring that just got busted. And the idea that those young girls scared to death being traded, used in the sex trade, that's just mind-boggling to me. All right, let's take a break here. It is 6:48. I am Pamela Furr. This is Freak Out Friday. You can get your last comments in if you want to, 615-737-9986, or you can send us a super text line as we wrap up the show. Mark Levin coming up at 7:05. So stick around for that on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is 6:52. Pamela Furr here as we wrap up the drive with Brian Wilson. 615-737-9986 is the phone number as we freak out Friday today. David, you're on the line. Hi. What are you freaking out about today?
Well, their comment on the military guy cheating the families of the fallen soldiers.
Yep.
Yeah, I served in the mid-'70s in the Army. I was National Guard through the mid-'80s. And, people like that, we call them posers and other things. And thank you for bringing that out.
Oh, it ticks me
That's
off.
something that doesn't need to be known, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for all that served, it's terrible.
100%. Thank you, David, for your service. Thank you for your phone call. Have a great weekend.
Right.
Have a great Friday night. I appreciate it. As we wrap things up, let's get you the latest on cocaine and that story. When the news that the cocaine was found in the West Wing of the White House, that it was found near the Situation Room, where some extremely sensitive and consequential decision-making steps are taken, that kind of thing, by top White House and military officials, it made the discovery even more intriguing and concerning, didn't it? First, it was the White House library. Then it was another area of the White House where just, tour groups come in. It's nothing. Now it's, oh, no, it was found outside the Situation Room. Well, check this out. During today's press briefing, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan threw water on the intrigue by sharing that the Situation Room had been shut down for months due to renovations.
Last question. Thank you. Jake, 5 days after cocaine was found here in the White House, congressional Republicans seem like they're very close to launching some sort of formal investigation. I'm curious, from a national security perspective, Wade, what was your reaction when the drugs were found? And B, was there any risk to security, either to the president, to your staff, anybody that would work out of the sit room, for this stuff to be so close to where you work?
So first, I would refer to the Secret Service when it comes to questions of the security of the president. I won't speak to that. Second, I would make a point about the Situation Room, because I think there's been a lot of questionable reporting on this. The Situation Room is not in use and has not been in use for months because...
Well, first of all, let me just say that. How would we know that?
As it is currently under construction. We are using an alternate Situation Room in the Eisenhower Executive Office building. So the only people coming in and going out of the sit room in this period have been workers who are getting it ready to go. By the way, it's on time and on schedule to be back on station here in the not too distant future.
All right, I want to interrupt there. So now they're casting shade on, well, it's not any workers at the White House. It would be construction workers. But I would think, look, my only experience, and I'm sure that Brian Wilson has, I know he does, more experience working in the White House. Of course, I don't have any experience of that. My only experience with Secret Service, you had to do background checks anytime you were around the president. And I was around the president once, President George H.W. Bush and his wife, during a CMA festival. I got to sing Back Up for Dolly on that and, got to meet them. And it was really cool. And this has been years and years ago. But we had to go through background checks. Not only that, when we arrived at the Opry House, we had to arrive at noon and stay there the rest of the day. And they searched our bags. They searched our person. They searched everything. Equipment, if you had any, whatever. They searched everything. And they knew your name. Your name was on a list. Your Social Security was on the list. So I would think that if you're doing construction at the White House, it can't just be willy-nilly, any old day laborer kind of construction workers. I would think that you have to go through stringent background checks before you're doing any kind of construction there on the White House grounds, wouldn't you think?
And not to mention, you're going to be supervised heavily, I would think, too, to make sure you're staying where you're supposed to be and all that.
Exactly. And if they're not, we have a problem. We have a big problem. So if they're trying to cast shade here, maybe trying to get you to think that perhaps a construction worker may have left his cocaine, I think that does a disservice even to the construction workers. And if I were a reporter in that area, I'd find out, okay, who's the construction company? All right, well, we need to be in touch with the construction company. And I'd start asking questions of the construction company and let them comment on this shade that has just been thrown by the National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan.
But no, there was no issue with the Situation Room relative to this. And then finally, look, we have rigorous drug testing policies at the White House. We have rigorous drug use policies here at the White House. We take those extremely seriously. So we'll let the investigation unfold. If it involves someone from the White House, the appropriate consequences will ensue. If it involves some visitor who came in and left it, then that's a different matter that raises a different set of questions that are less relevant to my line of work. So I will leave it at that. But I do not believe at present, as things stand here at the podium today, that we are facing some national security threat, an ongoing national security threat.
All right, so that's Jake Sullivan, the National Security Advisor. We're supposed to know, I think, sometime next week. I think I heard Monday they're supposed to be able to wrap this thing up. We'll see. I don't know. We're probably going to get another story. Oh, no, we found it in the China room. Or the plate room, as I like to call it. No, it was in the Lincoln bedroom. Come on, people. Yeah, I don't know that we're ever going to get the truth. Do you? Do you have any faith in our government? I don't. All right, that's it for me. I'm Pamela Furr. Apparently needs to get off the air as soon as possible before she smooshes any other words together. Mark Levin is coming up next. Have yourself a great weekend. You can find me on socials, Pamela Furr, Pamela Furr.